Hey, hey, hey. Oh, I'm telling y'all to go get some water. And I ain't moved. I'm, dang it. Hold on. Hey, hey, hey. Can you hear me?
Inconsolable.
So it's three of y'all came over here and didn't hit the like button.
Collapsing in public.
So you came over here after all of what I said and still didn't double tap your screen and come over here hitting the like button. I'm gonna have to move it back some. Ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee. Ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee. Hey Janet, thank you. But I think Chrome again. Alright. Now I think
I'm saying, have we got any of those group?
the one that I teased y'all with earlier. Hold on. Y'all please come in hitting the like button so I won't have to shut it down. Do I need to hit refresh on here? Because I got it right here, so it should be the second. Yeah, I just saw I don't know what this is. It was just here when I clicked off.
My name is Anna, or Anya Wick, changed from.
I don't know what this is. I saw it, but it says this is Epstein's niece. Uh, please hit the like button. Come on in. And hey, Cynthia. Again, it says this is Epstein's niece. I don't know if it's true, but let's listen.
My name is Anna, or Anya Wick, changed from Anna Petrova when I was briefly married, changed from Owen Theodore Epstein when I transitioned back to female, changed from my birth name, Anya Beth Epstein, when I transitioned.
Okay, are we catching this, y'all? Hey, Ronnie.
from
Oh,
female to male.
oh, okay, again. Shout out to all of that. So I don't know if she's male or female. She did a lot of back and forth. So let's listen with our good ear. And again, this is my first time hearing this. Well, I listened to it when I hung up the other live. But let's go.
It's Anna or Anya Wick. Changed from Anna Petrova when I was briefly married. Changed from Owen Theodore Epstein when I transitioned back to female. Changed from my birth name, Anya Beth Epstein, when I transitioned from female to male. I'll come back to that later. I want to talk about Justin, Diddy, and Blink Twice as conversation.
Did she say Diddy? Y'all know when she said that, it caught, my eyes got big, right? Ronnie. I just don't know how it just pops in my lap. How long have I been trying to tell y'all this? I was like, what? I feel bad for really ugly chicks in the U.S. Everybody probably thinks. Okay, so pimp name 224. Stop trolling. I mean, we don't troll. How? So that means that you are already a subscriber because it haven't been 10 minutes. So stop. Stop trolling. No, stop. Okay, y'all finna start over. Let's go.
Theodore Epstein when I transitioned back to female. Changed Wick. Changed from Anna Petrova when I was brief. My name is Anna.
So did she get? Oh, so she changed her name when she went back to being a female. Okay.
Or Anya Wick. Changed from Anna Petrova when I was briefly married. Changed from Owen Theodore Epstein when I transitioned back to female. Changed from my birth name, Anya Beth Epstein, when I transitioned from female to male. I'll come back to that later. I want to talk about Justin, Diddy, and Blink Twice as conversations I've been seeing relate to my personal experiences. These are experiences I've been
Who is Blink Twice?
wanting to speak on for a while now.
Who is Blink Twice? Have y'all ever heard that name? Okay.
And I've been pretty terrified of retaliation like my Theodore Epstein when I transitioned back to female. Changed from my birth name, Anya Beth Epstein, when I transitioned from female to male. I'll come back to that later.
Y'all come on in. Come in. Hi, welcome. Everybody come on in. Double tap the face of your screen. Coming in. Coming in. The tea is hot. Coming in. So double tap the face of your phone or hit the thumbs up. The three dots at the top right. I'm telling you now, the tea is hot. Coming in. But I will shut it down if you don't get the lights up.
My name is Anna, or Anya Wick. Changed from Anna Petrova when I was briefly married. Changed from Owen Theodore Epstein when I transitioned back to female. Changed from my birth name, Anya Beth Epstein, when I transitioned from female to male. I'll come back to that later. I want to talk about Justin, Diddy, and Blink Twice as conversations I've been seeing relate to my personal experiences. These are experiences I've been wanting to speak on for a while now, and I've been pretty terrified of retaliation like my uncle faced, or repercussions of general disbelief, but it doesn't matter. When I spoke to the FBI a couple of years ago. They interviewed my perpetrators, who, of course, denied their actions, and the case was dropped. I'm tired of it weighing on me. It's had me sick, and these conversations are happening right now. So, I believe that Justin was passed around, that it's perfectly normal in the industry. I believe Diddy's guilty, and that he is maybe being a scapegoat of sorts to keep attention away from the bigger picture. And I think that blink twice is a metaphor for human trafficking that is actually aided by LSD. I know they did MDMA in the film, but like the perfume that makes people forget, the venom that helps them remember, it's all very parallel to the effects that LSD alone had on me while I was growing up getting passed around at orgies as a sex slave. I had...
Now, we haven't heard that word since Diddy, right? Being passed around as a sex slave. Let's go.
It's to keep attention away from the bigger picture. And I think that blink twice is a metaphor for human trafficking that is actually aided by LSD. I know they did MDMA in the film, but like the perfume that makes people forget, the venom that helps to keep attention away from the bigger picture. And I believe Diddy's guilty, and that he is maybe being a scapegoat of sorts to keep attention away from the bigger picture. And I think that blink twice is a metaphor for human trafficking that is actually aided by LSD. I know they did MDMA in the film, but like the perfume that makes people forget, the venom that helps them remember, it's all very parallel to the effects that LSD alone had on me while I was growing up getting passed around at orgies as a sex slave. I had amnesia, like a split mind for... I was growing up getting passed around at orgies as a sex slave. I had amnesia, like a split mind for the majority of my life. That was the point of the acid. Everything that I experienced on it was blocked out completely, and I only remembered the circumstances I was trapped in when the drug had already kicked in. So what happened is my family would dose me and rape me with their friends and relatives. Always, by the time I was high, it was impossible for me to run. And by the time the drug wore off, I would have forgotten everything. Now, this started in infancy and slowed...
Oh my God. Here goes the infant again. Oh my God. Oh my God.
and rape me with their friends and relatives. Always, by the time I was high, it was impossible for me to run. And by the time the drug wore off, I would have forgotten everything. Now, this started in infancy and slowed down, finally stopped when I began taking testosterone in 2015. I had to de-sex myself. My memories began resurfacing and finally sticking in 2020, at which point my healing started to begin. Sometimes it was just my father. Usually it was both my parents and my brothers at an isolated cabin they had purchased. Often it was with the extended family we had in town. And sometimes it was at these massive parties on vacation. I would be told we were going to a family reunion or one of my father's work functions. They would give me something special to drink. I'd get ogled by a bunch of old men, sometimes introduced to various people as my siblings. I would initially enjoy myself, kind of. And then I recognized the effects on my body that were so familiar. Memories would start to come back, and the horror set in before I'd get raped.
Oh,
I'd
wow.
usually be mostly unconscious for these assaults and not come to until we had left the affair or just the morning after packing up.
Is she high now, or is she sniffing, or you said,
Introduced to various people as my siblings. I would initially enjoy myself, kind of. And then I recognized the effects on my body that were so familiar. Memories would start to come back, and the horror set in before I'd get raped. I'd usually be mostly unconscious for these assaults and not come to until we had left the affair or just the morning after packing up. Why do I bring Hollywood into this? At the orgy I remember best, at Aspen in late spring of 2007, I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Larry David as my uncles before the assaults began. When I came to,
she was
rope
introduced
found in a
what?
hotel room at the lodge.
What she say?
I would initially enjoy myself, kind of. And then I recognized the effects on my body that were so familiar. Memories would start to come back, and the horror set in before I'd get raped. I'd usually be mostly unconscious for these assaults and not come to until we had left the affair or just the morning after packing up. Why do I bring Hollywood into this? At the orgy I remember best, at Aspen in late spring of 2007, I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Larry David as my uncles before the assaults began. When I came to, rope bound in a hotel room at the lodge, Larry was still orally penetrating me. My mother apologized to him, told him he had to stop. He complimented her for how well she trained me. I couldn't move or scream, and she mocked me for trying. There are several other people I've met throughout my life, but that is the event I remember most clearly, which takes me back to Justin and Blink Twice and gossip about this happening in Hollywood. It is my wish for the public to become aware of what has been happening right in front of their faces, and for children today to become freed from the abuse that I believe they are still experiencing. I can go more in depth on my story, but it isn't about me. Violent abusers are being lauded as public figures and gifted fortunes and power. And while my past remains secret, whether or not anyone will ever verify it, I cannot feel at peace with myself. I'll answer questions anyone may have if anyone pays attention to this. And thank you for watching and listening.
Wow. That was heavy. I don't know what Blink Twice is. I don't know where that came from. Oh, okay. Hold on. I don't even know where it came from. It just kind of popped up. Hold on.
I am Jeff Epstein's.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Hold on.
Years of not being able to survive. I got out in 2015 after years of not being able to survive as my enslaved female self anymore. I decided to take testosterone to transition.
Hold on. Let me bring that over here. Uh, I have no idea why all of this stuff is popping out right now. I need to check this one out, and it's quite lengthy. Let me bring that one over there, over here, and let's check this out. It's real short, and then I'm gonna get to what I
To
promise
transition
y'all.
to male. Desexing myself completely devalued me for them, so they let me go without fuss. But not.
Who let her go?
I got out in 2015 after years of not being able to survive as my enslaved female self anymore. I decided to take testosterone to transition to male. Desexing myself completely devalued me for them. So,
Desexing yourself so that they would not continue to oless her. Okay.
as my enslaved female self anymore, I decided to take testosterone to transition to male. Desexing myself completely devalued me for them, so they let me go without fuss, but not after encouraging the transition. Things were good for them if I believed that my gender was all that was wrong with me. So they paid for my double mastectomy in 2019. My doctors encouraged me to have a hysterectomy. Oh, I'm exhausted. I was given a hysterectomy with oophorectomy, removal of the uterus and ovaries. And then a year later, I started getting my memories back. Quit the testosterone, went back on estrogen as soon as possible, and set myself on a mission to learn more of and tell the truth with my siblings. Came up with the idea for me to write a screenplay, autobiography. I believed it was going to be our mechanism to tell the truth, that it was not going to just be a work of fiction. Then when I got to New York to answer this court case, everyone told me to ignore it, whether for my best interest or theirs.
What court case? Okay, hold on.
The idea for me to write a screenplay, autobiography. I believed it was going to be our mechanism to tell the truth, that it was not going to just be a work of fiction. Then when I got to New York to answer this court case, everyone told me to ignore it, whether for my best interest or theirs. It became apparent to me I had to choose between being with them now or telling the truth now. I am trying to live with my decision. It is incredibly painful. I'm letting myself feel all the warmth pouring in from all over the world. It's amazing. Got people cheering me on from the indigenous of Arctic Alaska to Switzerland and Australia, and I am so incredibly grateful. I'm gonna give myself some mental rest today after I set up this GoFundMe you guys are asking for, which I do really appreciate. I got a little bit more protection. I am safe. I am in good health. I am not suicidal. I am so thankful for you.
Why does every, especially on the Epstein side, have to announce their health and their mental? What is up with that? Why do they all appear? Let me see the nose. Why do they all appear to announce they're not, why? So if something happens, hi, Just Johnson, hi. Why do they all seem to do that? Oh, very low. Oh my God, I done took the. I've noticed that, y'all. Hold on, I didn't. Oh my goodness, I did not. I let
I
it go.
am in good health. I'm not suicidal. I'm so thankful for you. Truly. While I'm out here telling the truth, the truth. I am in good health. I am not suicidal. I am so thankful for you. Truly. Um, while I'm out here telling the truth is, it really hurts. I'm still trying to come up with ways to undo this. Part of me is, so I can be with them now.
Be with who?
But I know they're asking for, which I do really appreciate. I got a little bit more protection. I am safe. I am in good health. I am not suicidal. I am so thankful for you. Truly. Um, while I'm out here telling the truth is, it really hurts. I'm still trying to come up with ways to undo this. Part of
Jeffrey
me is,
Epstein's
so I
niece.
can be with them now. But I know you've all been waiting for this validation, and they have too. I have to believe some of them are just waiting for someone else to speak. I'll get you guys an update as soon as I can.
Okay, so that was just dropped to me. It blows my mind that they all have to say, uh, I'm in good health and I'm not suicidal. That senator, congresswoman, she did the same thing, I think. And I think a Candace did. And okay, so what I teased y'all with earlier that mentioned the Kennedys. That's the Kennedy right there, ain't it? Oh, that's that's his son. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. That ain't that the son? Ain't that a ain't that a oh, just lame, Ghislaine Maxwell, girl, you is out there big time. So John, what's his name? That's the Onassis son, Jacqueline Onassis son, isn't it? So this is JFK's son. They go. She looks older in that picture though. Mm, I don't, baby, J. I don't know. That's her, and that's him. I'm not trying to figure out nobody's age. No, which one is that? Robert? That's the Onassis lady. Okay, so oh yeah, definitely I agree with that, but she looks older, like the picture looked like it was taken a long time ago, but she looks, I mean, she hadn't turned around in her face. That was just her side profile. But I think I need to slow this down because it moves a little fast for me, especially when I'm trying to see. So bear with me. And I haven't looked at this all the way. I got it. I looked at a little of it. Eyes got big and said, I'll save it for the tea sippers. But y'all, it's 200 and some people in here and y'all didn't hit the like button. I got 30 likes and it's 272 people in here. That is not going to work. Double tap the face of your screen if you're on your phone. If you're on your computer or tablet, hit the thumbs up. Hi, Pamela. Come on. Come on, because I'm anxious to see what this is, but I am not moving forward until the lights go up. How the Real Housewives, Andrew Cuomo. And yeah, I looked it up. He is the senator. Well, he was, and he's running for office again, and he is married to a Kennedy. He is married to a Kennedy, and they are connected to her. Yeah, he is married to a Kennedy, and he had to resign because of sexual harassment, I think. Yeah, and some of the complaints was mentioning even back then that he had Epstein ways. Lord have mercy, y'all. Come on, get the likes up quickly. Let me go get some water. Oh my goodness. Oh, so she was young here. That's an actor right there, isn't it? That's uh oh man. That Tom Hanks. Is that Tom? What's his name? I can see him. I just can't think of the movie that he played in. Anybody who was he? I'm gonna see what. Harrison Ford. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Maxwell. Even one day. Oh, I can't see that. She was pretty. She looked just like her dad. I'm gonna let it play, but y'all come on, get the likes up. JFK. I'm trying to tell y'all these lists are out. I got it. Y'all just ain't showing the love that y'all need to show. What list is that? Oh, listen. The Epstein files have already been leaking. I'm trying to tell y'all, but I can't put it out. I can't show everything because y'all are not supporting the platform. Y'all can't even get y'all to hit the like button right. It's 300 and some people in here, and it's only 44 likes. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. Oh, so they were really tied to the Kennedys. But what is their connection with Cuomo'S, though? I guess if we hit the like button, it'll come on out. Okay, y'all, so I'm finna go get some water. Please, it's 45 likes now. It's 220 some people in here. I don't care if it's 45 people in here. Get the likes up so I can go ahead and start, because I haven't watched it all.
Kennedy. This is Jackie Kennedy and Caroline Kennedy and Lee Roswell and Pete Roswell. So Carol married JFK Jr.'s.
I didn't tell you to start. And yeah, some of these people, I do recognize them. I don't, that look like a mobster though. Hold on. I'm trying to stop on somebody I know. In the same interview, Kennedy said, of course, okay. In the same interview, Kennedy said, of course, you know, I ran across Jeffrey Epstein at parties. I mean, at fundraisers, like the Robin Hood fundraiser in New York, but I had no relationship. Oh, the Kennedy with the, oh, okay, that one. Thank you, Baby J. I'm gonna start it. Let me go get some water. Y'all come on, get the likes up. Y'all talk to the people in here and tell them to get the likes up. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Come on, y'all. Go get you some water. Okay. Here I come. Here I come. Here I come. Oh. Okay.
Not free to cultivate a relationship with
I'm
the Kennedy
sorry.
family, hence why there are so many Kennedy names.
Okay, I'm sorry. Good. Okay, so let's start over. Let's go. Come on in, hitting the like button. Let's go. It's still going too fast for me. It's still going too fast. It's still going too fast. Hold on. I want to see these people. It's going too fast. Okay. Okay, so she should have... Oh, I don't even have 100 likes, Baby J. It wasn't even 100. It still ain't 100 likes. That's why you let them fall off. Oh, man, that was at 50 and it was still going that fast. Let's go. Who was that? Who was that person? Who is that? I wonder who was that? Waterworld, Diplomat, Palitha, Angela Chan, June 2014. Hey, Janet. Oh, hey, baby. Hey. Oh. Whatever. Okay, the son of Queen of England and ex-husband of Sarah, father of 2 princes. It's surprisingly... Okay, so, okay, it got up to 135. Oh, that was the people. That wasn't likes. What you see is the people. I thought I was stopping it. No, what y'all are able to see is the people that are in here. That's not the likes. I mean, she was all up in there, wasn't she? She was all up in there. Ghislaine Maxwell, baby, she was, I mean, she like women too, though. I mean, but she was all up in their face, baby. That's the housewives. So you know what's been, so you've been knowing too. Housewives of Atlanta and all them other places. Hold on. I was trying to read Maxwell. What? Who is that guy? Does he look familiar? I'm sure trying to catch it, y'all. I'm trying to catch these people. Powerful connection. 2021. Was a guest at Andrew Cuomo's wedding and private Kennedy lunch. Prince Andrew cousin claims. Now they're telling off on each other. I don't know. I'm trying to catch it. I'm trying to catch these people that Ghislaine Maxwell is wrapped up in. I mean, they go way back because these are old. That's a Sawyer lady, right? What did this say? Yeah, it's no way for me to catch it because it's set up to be real fast. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's what I thought I saw. JFK Jr. And it's ironic because Trump came in campaigning about the JFK files, so he already know that they all linked. I mean, not necessarily MLK, but JFK and Epstein. He knew that. He knew that. He already know that the Epstein files got Kennedy's in there. And he already know that they are CIA related. Epstein was CIA, JFK, it was taken out. And it's funny how they are saying that Charlie's assassination was similar to JFK's. And now they was trying to say that he was taken out by his own security, right? That was driving in front of him. Now I'm not saying, but it has come up since Charlie. And they're saying that it was the driver and it was CIA, intelligence, Epstein, and then Israel. Yeah. Thank you, Baby J. And as soon as Charlie Kirk started denouncing Israel, he was taken out. Kind of similar. And they were saying the only person who did not go along with it was JFK. And now we're seeing JFK. Who? Do I believe who did? JFK? Yeah. Epstein, no. Do you believe he stopped a bullet? Mm, all I know is they didn't have a gravesite. I didn't see no blood. I don't think they faked JFK's. Um, but I don't know about Charlie. I think that it, I think that there's a I'm hoping. Well, let me say it that way. I hope that they are removing these people who are being threatened by denouncing the CIA, pro-Israel, and this intelligence, because it's definitely a connection. And I hope that when the threats are coming, that they are putting them in protective custody. That's what I hope. Just like I'm hoping that Virginia, with her memoirs, and they tried to run her over, I hope that she's in protective custody. I don't know. But I am seeing a pattern of the people who are tied to the Epstein, Israel, president, the politics. They all seem to want to say, I am not suicidal. So I don't know. And I think that Candace left for protection. Oh, okay. Okay. So now I can go regular speed. Let's go.
Ghislaine and Jeffrey's connections with the Kennedy family
Y'all please get the likes up.
were born out of Robert Maxwell's communicated desire to hold a business or friendship alliance with the Kennedy family. And I believe he was attempting to use his daughter Ghislaine in order to infiltrate the Kennedy family and bring about some kind of a friendship alliance or a business alliance.
So he was pimping his daughter.
In order to infiltrate the Kennedy. And I believe he was attempting to use his daughter Ghislaine in order to infiltrate the. Born out of Robert Maxwell's communicated desire to hold a business or friendship alliance with the Kennedy family. And I believe he was attempting to use his daughter Ghislaine in order to infiltrate the Kennedy family and bring about some kind of a friendship alliance or a business alliance with the Kennedy family. Robert Maxwell expressed many times before he passed that he wanted his daughter Ghislaine, his youngest, his favorite daughter, to marry into a family whom he approved of. In reality, a family that would help him further his own business ventures, specifically in the United States, and he had his eye on the Kennedy family for Ghislaine, which makes sense. And he had his eye on the Kennedy family for Ghislaine ventures, specifically.
Dang, is that the Prince? Is that Prince Charles? Who is this guy? London. Okay. I'm sure looking. I'm up. I mean, y'all should see. Hey, Vicky, I mean to tell you, I am up close Who is this guy down here? I done told y'all my eyes done. Robert. Okay. 4-year-old George something something. I'm not gonna be able to read that. I can't see him. I can't see him. All that stuff in the way. Oh, you can see it. You can't see him. Oh, you talking about this guy down here? Yeah, it's just at the bottom.
In the United States, and he had his eye on the Kennedy family for Ghislaine, which makes sense because for years the Kennedy family were basically American royalty. We remember in past deep dives we've done into Robert Maxwell, we know that he was actively expanding his media empire in the United States. In the years before he passed away, Robert Maxwell and Rupert Murdoch were actively at this time before Robert Maxwell passed away in a rat race for media dominance worldwide. An alliance with the Kennedy family would have been extremely lucrative for Robert Maxwell's ambitions of expansion into the United States for his publishing and media company. Because Ghislaine became close with the Kennedy family while Robert Maxwell was still alive, and even after Robert Maxwell passed away, Ghislaine would continue now with Jeffrey to cultivate a relationship with the Kennedy family, hence why there are so many Kennedy names in the Black Book. I think it's very interesting when you compare the names of the Kennedy family that are in the Black Book and the behavior and the scandals that they engaged in, opposed to the members of the Kennedy family who are not in the Black Book. Going back to 1990, this is a photo of Ghislaine Maxwell and Joe Kennedy at Andrew Cuomo and Carrie Kennedy's wedding. So the Maxwell family and the Kennedy family had come into contact sometime before June of 1990. There's also this photo of Ghislaine and John F.
There go that Andrew Cuomo down there. Their wedding. Y'all, please double tap the face of your phone.
1990. There's also this photo of Ghislaine and John F. Kennedy Jr. socializing. I'm not for sure what this event was, but this is from sometime in the 90s, and this is Ghislaine, and she's socializing with John F. Kennedy Jr. And I don't know if you can tell, I'll pull up another photo. Here's another shot. The woman who's sitting in between Ghislaine and John F. Kennedy Jr., who are smiling at one another, is a woman named Carol Radziwill. Here's another angle that you can see her. Ghislaine fostered a relationship with Carol Radziwill due to Carol Radziwill's proximity to the Kennedy family, and this was a friendship that the two of them nurtured over at least a 10-year period. You may know Carol Radziwill from the 6 seasons of The Real Housewives of New York that she did, or you may recently have seen photos of Carol Radziwill and
Hold on. I knew her. Okay.
Harry Styles posted on social media together. Ghislaine Maxwell befriended Carol Radziwill because Carol Radziwill was married to Anthony Radziwill. Anthony Radziwill was the son of Lee Radziwill, who is the sister of Jackie Kennedy. This is Jackie Kennedy and Caroline Kennedy and Lee Radziwill and Anthony Radziwill. So Carol married JFK Jr.'s cousin, and JFK Jr. and Anthony were best friends growing up. So it makes sense why Ghislaine would want to foster a relationship with Carol Radziwill so that she could get closer to a member of the Kennedy family, specifically John F. Kennedy Jr. And it has been alleged that Ghislaine and John F. Kennedy Jr. did have a romantic fling at some point, but there are inside sources who say that Ghislaine was just not his type and it didn't work out. It was a one-time thing. Ghislaine has also allegedly boasted about this encounter happening to her friends. Carol's husband, Anthony, passed away in 1999 of cancer. Carol flew out to London after her husband's passing and spent a lot of time with Ghislaine Maxwell. In fact, Carol Radziwill, who got her start in journalism working at ABC, was introduced to Prince Andrew and given the opportunity to interview Prince Andrew for Glamour magazine due to her friend, Ghislaine Maxwell. During their friendship, Carol would write a memoir about her life, and Ghislaine Maxwell would be the photographer for this memoir, which helps explain why there are so many photographs, framed photographs of Carol Radziwill in Ghislaine Maxwell's apartment. I did get a lot of requests to explain the connections between Ghislaine and Carol whenever we debunked RFK Jr.'s lies about his association with Ghislaine and Jeffrey. When we found photos, explain why there are so many photographs, framed photographs of Carol Radziwill in Ghislaine Maxwell's apartment. I did get a lot of requests to explain the connections between Ghislaine and Carol whenever we debunked RFK Jr.'s lies about his association with Ghislaine and Jeffrey. When we found photos of him from 2014 partying in Ghislaine
when he tried to
Maxwell's
first act like he didn't know them.
after he proclaimed to have severed any relationship with Jeffrey and Ghislaine. And given the opportunity to interview Prince Andrew for Glamour magazine due to her friend Ghislaine Maxwell. During their friendship, Carol would write a memoir about her life, and Ghislaine Maxwell would be the photographer for this memoir, which helps explain why there are so many photographs, framed photographs of Carol Radziwill in Ghislaine Maxwell's apartment. I did get a lot of requests to explain the connections between Ghislaine and Carol whenever we debunked RFK Jr.'s lies about his association with Ghislaine and Jeffrey. When we found photos of him from 2014 partying in Ghislaine Maxwell's apartment years after he proclaimed to have severed any relationship with
the
Jeffrey
guy who can't.
And in that video,
that guy who can't talk. He's over the health, human resources, or some of health. The one who talks about the shot. Y'all double tap the face of your phone. Get the likes up. He's in the cabinet right now. That one. So he definitely know Ghislaine Maxwell.
a lot of people saw Carol Radziwill's photos framed in the background of Ghislaine's apartment and have been asking me, what is the connection there? Before we just move on from the Carol Radziwill of it all, I just want to show you guys this photo of Carol and a baby-faced Jared Kushner. Like, I think we can all see why Ghislaine wanted to keep Carol close. Now let's talk about a few other interesting things.
Oh, baby, they all in it, ain't they? Jared Kushner. Oh my goodness. All of them. Let's go.
Show you guys this photo of Carol and a baby-faced Jared Kushner. Like, I think we can all see why Ghislaine wanted to keep Carol close. Now let's talk about a few other interesting things about the Kennedys who are in the Black Book. So, like RFK Jr., he was traveling on Jeffrey's plane before he was married to Mary Kennedy. He was traveling in 1993, and at that time, he was married to a woman named Emily. Their marriage ended almost immediately after this alleged trip on Jeffrey's plane. RFK Jr. continued to travel on Jeffrey's plane. These are his own words. He's admitted to this with his second wife, Mary Kennedy, and his children as well. While still
why did they divorce shortly after the
Cheryl Hine?
Hold on.
Faced Jared Kushner. Like, I think we can all see why Ghislaine wanted to keep Carol close. Now let's talk about a few other interesting things about the Kennedys who are in the Black Book. So, like RFK Jr., he was traveling on Jeffrey's plane before he was married to Mary Kennedy. He was traveling in 1993, and at that time, he was married to a woman named Emily. Their marriage ended almost immediately after this alleged trip on Jeffrey's plane. RFK Jr. continued to travel on Jeffrey's plane. These are his own words. He's admitted to this with his second wife, Mary Kennedy, and his children as well. While still married to Mary Kennedy, RFK Jr. began dating Cheryl Hine. 2 years later, Mary would allegedly take her own life. And throughout all this time, throughout his marriage with
she
Cheryl
took her
Hine,
own life.
To hang around Jeffrey
Hold
and
on.
but has publicly blamed his association.
Did he say she took her own life? Oh Lord, what is going on with these people? Did y'all hear that?
Throughout all this time, throughout his marriage with Cheryl Hines, he continued. He was traveling in 1993, and at that time, he was married to a woman named Emily. Their marriage ended almost immediately after this alleged trip on Jeffrey's plane. RFK Jr. continued to travel on Jeffrey's plane. These are his own words. He's admitted to this with his second wife, Mary Kennedy, and his children as well. While still married to Mary Kennedy, RFK Jr. began dating Cheryl Hines. 2 years later, Mary would allegedly take her own life. And throughout all this time, throughout his marriage with Cheryl Hines, he continued to hang around
I have not seen Barbara Streisand. That is not Barbara Streisand, Linda. She do a little, resemble her a little, but I know.
Jeffrey and Ghislaine, but has publicly blamed his association with Jeffrey and Ghislaine on Mary, who is no longer here to defend herself and was not here when he began his relationship with Jeffrey. She was not present, and RFK Jr. continued his relationship with Jeffrey and Ghislaine after she had passed away. Senator Edward Kennedy, I think they call him Ted Kennedy, his name is also in the Black Book. He also has allegations against him of helping take out a 28-year-old campaign staffer. He offered to drive her home, Jeffrey and Ghislaine, on Mary, who is no longer here to defend herself and was not here when he began his relationship with Jeffrey. She was not present. And RFK Jr. continued his relationship with Jeffrey and Ghislaine after she had passed away. Senator Edward Kennedy, I think they call him Ted Kennedy, his name is also in the Black Book. He also has allegations against him of helping take out a 28-year-old campaign staffer. He offered to drive her home, but ultimately drove off a bridge, freed himself from the car, and left the scene of the crime, allowing her, this 28-year-old RFK Jr. staffer, to drown inside of the submerged vehicle. And he did not report this happening. It wasn't for several hours that any authorities or anyone even found the vehicle or her body. Circumstances of the case, the factual information we have is very alarming. And that's very interesting that out of all the Kennedys, we have this guy in the Black Book. Because yes, while scandal and the Kennedy family go hand in hand,
yeah, I think she was trying to, I think he was trying to come on her and she rejected. I think there was some rejection going on. No, that's that lady on The Housewives. Yeah, that wasn't Barbara Streisand. You talking about her nose. That's not her.
All of the Kennedys were scandalous people. They weren't. But it definitely seems like the ones who had some kind of scandal surrounding them were certainly in the Black Book. So in 1991,
and he had something to do. That lady that drowned, somebody was rejected, and it was a little scuffle. I think some alcohol, but I think that there was probably some taking of the cookie that went on.
Kennedy's nephew, William Kennedy, was charged with R-wording.
Okay. I knew. Okay.
Side of his uncle, Ted Kennedy's home. What happened was in 1991, Ted Kennedy and his nephew were at a nightclub. Ted Kennedy's nephew brought people. They weren't. But it definitely seems like the ones who had some kind of scandal surrounding them were certainly in the Black Book. So in 1991, Ted Kennedy's nephew, William Kennedy, was charged with R-wording a girl inside of his uncle, Ted Kennedy's home. What happened was in 1991, Ted Kennedy and his nephew were at a nightclub. Ted Kennedy's nephew brought home a girl to his home where she would go on to be R-worded, and his nephew was charged. Joe Kennedy, I think Joe Kennedy's big scandal was how he left the scene of a car accident, caused an 18-year-old girl to become paralyzed, something very bad like that. We have Kerry Kennedy and Andrew Cuomo, a wedding that we know Ghislaine Maxwell was in attendance at. And we know Andrew Cuomo, who is also Kennedy adjacent, has a major problem and a long list of allegations when it comes to SA, physically and verbally. Now, I just think all of this is very interesting because there was clearly a coordinated effort to try to bring the Kennedys in under their wing for many reasons. Uncle, Ted Kennedy's home. What happened was in 1991, Ted Kennedy and his nephew were at a nightclub. Ted Kennedy's nephew.
So Roy Black was the attorney who helped negotiate the 2008 plea deal. So who is Roy Black that allowed him to avoid the federal charges? So is this him? What does Roy Black have to do with? Okay, go ahead.
Who brought home a girl to his home where she would go on to be R-worded, and his nephew was charged. Joe Kennedy, I think Joe Kennedy's big scandal was how he left the scene of a car accident, caused an 18-year-old girl to become paralyzed, something very bad like that. We have Kerry Kennedy and Andrew Cuomo, a wedding that we know Ghislaine Maxwell was in attendance at. And we know Andrew Cuomo, who is also Kennedy adjacent, has a major problem and a long list that we know Ghislaine Maxwell was in attendance. 18-year-old girl to become paralyzed, something very bad like that. We have Kerry Kennedy and Andrew Cuomo, a wedding that we know Ghislaine Maxwell was in attendance at. And we know Andrew Cuomo, who is also Kennedy adjacent, has a major problem and a long list of allegations when it comes to SA, physically and verbally. Now, I just think all of this is very interesting because there was clearly a coordinated effort to try to bring the Kennedys in under their wing for many reasons, I assume. There's a lot of reasons why they could assume that the Kennedys might become the future political ruling class. Ghislaine probably wanted to honor her father's wishes by bringing this one plan, this one thought that he had to fruition. One more thing about Carol Radziwill. In present day, she has downplayed
Are you talking about this is Barbara Streisand?
Ghislaine Maxwell, minimizing it a lot. And I think it's very interesting because there are two figures who were friends of Ghislaine Maxwell, who were both friends with her right around the same time period, and she was definitely involved with Jeffrey. They both handled the scandal of Ghislaine and Jeffrey and everything breaking so differently, and it's very interesting to me. So Carol Radziwill has tried to minimize her friendship, her involvement with Ghislaine Maxwell. There's another friend of Ghislaine's who was in the same kind of shoes, but acted the complete opposite. When the scandal broke, she denounced Ghislaine Maxwell and her friendship loudly and proudly. She went to the FBI and told them everything she knew, which helped the case progress. She was one of the first figures who confirmed that there was recording and audio devices all over Jeffrey's plane and all over his properties. She even wrote a book called Trash: Encounters with Ghislaine Maxwell, where she goes through details concerning behaviors that she saw throughout her relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell and her hindsight 2020. So the next person who we dive into this week, before we start diving into the Les Wexners or a ranch kind of timeline, is Christina Oxenberg. She is the aunt of India Oxenberg, who was in the NXIVM cult. That will also segue us into the other connections between that specific cult and powerful figures who Jeffrey was very, very closely associated with. I think you're going to be very alarmed when you see the crossover between that specific cult and some of the names on Jeffrey's black book. So we'll get into it. We've got a lot to get into this week.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's his name came up in something.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing
Because
enough about
it'll be funny if I go into my this guy here. I think he's tied to Diddy. I looked him up not too long ago. So that's okay. Before I go back to where we were last night, y'all please get the like up. Good evening. I'll send positive vibes. Thank you, Rhonda. Chitwell. Oh, what made me look him up? Oh my goodness. And his dad, hotel. He got in trouble. So his dad is a hotel heir. Chatwall. Bikram. Okay, yeah. I looked him up. And I looked him up, I think, because of Diddy, and now I'm seeing L.A. Reid. That's Kim. Is that Kim Kardashian? Oh, that's that guy that used to be with Diddy. That well, he didn't mysteriously pass. Andre, ain't that Andre Farrell? No. Yeah. Yep. Tyra Banks. Yeah, so he off in there. Yeah, I just looked him up. Yep, that's his daddy. And his dad is a hotel heir. They all connected. They were all part. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's Saudi guy. Young girls and models. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. They are all connected. They are all aware of this human trafficking. The man who repeatedly, what? What did that say? The man who repeated Ghislaine Maxwell's shocking confession. What that mean? He repeated shocking confession.
Stumbled across an article that was published in 2002 by The Observer, and it is discussing a wealthy Manhattan socialite named Vikram Chatwal. And this article is basically discussing the lifestyle and how this man, Vikram, became so wealthy, and it discusses how he, for a long period of time, lived in the Trump International.
Yeah.
He's very closely associated to the Clintons, to Ghislaine and Jeffrey, as well as the British royal family and many Hollywood celebrities. So I'm just going to give you a very brief background and synopsis on who Vikram Chatwal is, because I more so want to discuss what he said about Ghislaine Maxwell in this specific article. So first and foremost, it should be noted that Vikram Chatwal was a very close associate of Jeffrey. He's all over the Black Book.
He's all over the Black Book. Owens Wilson. Who is Owen Wilson? What is BBS? Come on, let's go. All over the Black Book. Let's go.
Vikram's father is a man named Sant Chatwal, and he's a very close friend, personal friend of the Clintons, and has donated a lot of money to both Bill and Hillary's political ventures. Sant Chatwal is a very, very wealthy man. He has opened many, many hotels. He is the founder of Dream Hotel Group, and his business dealings take place not only in the United States, but internationally. Here's Vikram and his father, Sant. And back in 1999 is when Vikram himself began to really build his own wealth outside of his father's money, because in 1999, his father gave him the option to either agree to an arranged marriage or follow in his footsteps in the hotel business. So Vikram chose business and quickly became a multimillionaire in his own regard. So Vikram flew in the same New York socialite circles of really everyone who we've been discussing over the past few weeks. And like I said, for a long time, he lived in Trump International. Vikram has also dated a lot of figures who are well known within the modeling and entertainment industry, and he was also the boyfriend to Lindsay Lohan whenever she began to very obviously begins struggling with substances and drinking and partying, etc. Here he is with Lady Victoria Hervey, whom we have talked about on this page. Here he is with Russell and Kimora Simmons. Here he is with Kim Kardashian. Here he is with Tyra Banks. Here he is with Andre Harrell. You get the point. Very well connected. Also, like his father, Vikram also donated a lot of his money to both Bill and Hillary Clinton's political
please
ventures.
get the
So
lights
in this
up.
article, back to where we started. Vikram is discussing, remember this came out in 2002, he's discussing how he recently attended P. Diddy's birthday party. And at this party, the King of Morocco had loaned out his plane for Diddy to be able to use to party on. He also discusses how Bill and Hillary were invited to his brother's arranged marriage, and Bill Clinton gave a speech at his brother's arranged marriage
Who is Sapphire?
ceremony, and he begins discussing his connections and friendships within the British royal family, British socialites, and that leads him to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. He recalled in this 2002 article that he had recently attended a dinner party alongside Ghislaine Maxwell. According to Vikram, at this dinner party, Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly told a story of how she flew a Black Hawk helicopter to Colombia and fired rockets into what she described as a terror camp. Can we just stop and understand the implications of this if what this man is saying is true? And keep in mind, this would have taken place in an era
She did
before
what?
Jeffrey was even arrested for the first time, when Ghislaine and
Ghislaine did what?
is true. And keep in mind, this would have taken place this dinner party. Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly told a story of how she flew a Black Hawk helicopter to Colombia and fired rockets into what she described as a terror camp. Can we just stop and understand the implications of this if what this man is saying is true? And keep in mind, this would have taken place in an era before Jeffrey was even arrested for the first time, when Ghislaine and Jeffrey were shamelessly attached to very party. Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly told a story of how she flew a Black Hawk helicopter to Colombia and fired rockets into what she described as a terror camp. Can we just stop and understand the implications of this if what this man is saying is true? And keep in mind, this would have taken place in an era before Jeffrey was even arrested for the first time, when Ghislaine and Jeffrey were shamelessly attached to very powerful, wealthy people, very closely associated with the Clintons, very closely associated with the Trumps, very closely associated with the royal family, because the public at this time had no idea that these... And keep in mind, this would have taken place in an era to Colombia and fired rockets into what she described as a terror camp. Can we just stop and understand the implications of this if what this man is saying is true?
Why?
And keep in mind, this would have taken and fired rockets into what she described as a terror camp. Can we just stop and understand the implications?
Where would she have gotten
Fired
that?
rockets into what she described as a terror camp. Called in this 2002 article that he had recently attended a dinner party alongside Ghislaine Maxwell. According to Vikram, at this dinner party, Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly told a story of how she flew a Black Hawk helicopter to Colombia and fired rockets into what she described as a terror camp. Can we just stop and understand the implications of this if what this man is saying is true? And keep in mind, this would have taken place in an era before Jeffrey was even arrested for the first time, when Ghislaine and Jeffrey were shamelessly attached to very powerful, wealthy people, very closely associated with the Clintons, very closely associated with the Trumps, very closely associated with the royal family, because the public at this time had no idea that these people were pervs. Of course, they all knew within their own groups, but before the mid-2000s, the general public was not aware that these people were pervs. But like, on whose orders was Ghislaine Maxwell acting?
Right.
What camp in Colombia
was
were
Mossad.
rockets
That's
rained
right.
down upon by Ghislaine Maxwell? And like, the only thing that I could really find when I like dove a little bit deeper into this, I'm sure I could dive even further, but just at like a surface level glance, really the only like strange thing I found during this like time period related to Black Hawk helicopters and Columbia was when Jeffrey and Ghislaine's buddy and pal, Bill Clinton, when he was president, made some kind of deal with Columbia involving a lot of Black Hawk helicopters. When this deal was discussed further in the public, I guess Clinton aides were saying that it was a very bizarre and a very strange deal. I have no idea if it's related, but the fact that if what Vikram is saying is true, Ghislaine Maxwell, who we know had her license to fly helicopters and used that license to shuttle young girls to Jeffrey's Island or wherever to have as few implicating flight logs as possible. Wow. Like, in what world would Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite, what authority would she ever possibly have to engage in that act? Because for all intents and purposes, Ghislaine Maxwell was a regular civilian. She had no kind of meaningful government power at any point in her career in any government. I mean, yes, she had allegiance to certain governments, but with that allegiance should not come the power or ability to engage in raining down rockets into Columbia. I don't know, just like a weird little thing I found, and I thought I'd share it with you guys.
Let's be honest, there are zillions of things you'd rather do than look for insurance. Like assembling whatever that's supposed to be. 2 days later.
I'll already know I couldn't let it go. I needed to know more. Okay, so the other day we talked about the 2002 Observer article. I can't stop thinking about it because if this is true, the implications of this situation are so alarming. And even more so alarming, there are a lot of reasons for us to believe, and we're about to go through them, why Ghislaine Maxwell and Vikram might not have been lying about this situation. This might have been something that actually happened. I kind of run down a list of the reasons why this is not a completely improbable situation and all of like the weird connections that I've like discovered and dug up trying to learn more about.
Yeah, please hit the like button. It is.
We know that Ghislaine Maxwell did have her helicopter pilot
1 o'clock in the morning and I'm still going strong. Hit the like button.
Helicopter, and she would use that helicopter as a vehicle to inconspicuously move victims from one of Jeffrey's properties to the next.
Oh,
also
wow.
know that she had connections, loyalty, and allegiance to a range of different figures who sat in prominent positions in international governments, very similar to her father. But unlike her father, Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell never served for any country's military or navy. She never had any kind of military experience whatsoever that we know of. And while she may have had and currently still has an infamous name, that doesn't make her anything else than a civilian. But no matter how you slice it or dice it, Ghislaine Maxwell never had the authority to fire rockets into another country, whether or not she thought there were bad guys down there or not. And I think that's why I'm like really, really stuck on this story, because if true, somebody's military authorized a civilian to rain rockets down upon another country or their own country. One thing that we do know was going on in this era, and remember this article came out in 2002, so let's say between the late 90s and early 2000s. In this era politically, there was a lot of conversations happening about Blackhawks, the United States, and Columbia. This was called Plan Columbia. We'll get into it more in just a second, but keep in mind, during this period of time that we are talking about, Bill Clinton was in office. What was he, 93 to 2001? Okay, so put a pin in Plan Columbia for just a moment. Also notable in this era, late 90s to early 2000s, when Bill Clinton was in office, Ghislaine and Jeffrey were very, very closely associated with him. Ghislaine and Jeffrey were invited to the White House personally by Bill Clinton on multiple occasions. So if what is being alleged in this article is true, we have reason to assume that if it did happen, Bill Clinton was likely in office. While Bill Clinton was in office, there was a controversial political lobbying battle that was going on surrounding a deal between the United States and Colombia to give Colombia a plethora of Black Hawk helicopters as well. But what's very interesting is the president of Colombia at this time, when these deals were going on, when Bill Clinton was in office, was a man named Andres Pastrana Arango. And Andres, the president of Colombia at this time, was a close friend of Jeffrey and Ghislaine. This is a photo from Jeffrey's Manhattan property. You can see Ghislaine Maxwell.
Y'all, I need 25 likes real quick. Can we get it real quick? So we can continue. Double tap the face of your screen. Just double, if you're on your phone, or hit the thumbs up on your tablet or computer. or your TV. You can use your TV, that works as well. Come on. I mean, the quicker we can get it done, because I still have to go finish. Because Janet, if she's gone, she will come back and watch. I need 25 more likes. Come on, y'all.
Fidel Castro, the president of
Keep 'em
Colombia,
coming.
Jeffrey, they're all here, whole gang's here. Here's another photo of Fidel Castro, the president of Colombia at the time, and Jeffrey. And Andres has flown to Jeffrey's island. He's on the flight logs, he's in the black book, all of the things. Andres, the former Colombian president, is also a fellow at the Center for Internal Affairs at Harvard University, which is very interesting because we know how important the ties to Harvard are for Jeffrey.
Absolutely.
So while Bill Clinton was president, he worked very closely with the president of Colombia to create something called Plan Colombia. And this negotiation would dramatically increase financial aid to
Now, I don't know if the tea sippers that are in here tonight are the ones that was here when I did the live with the undercover FBI guy who went in and broke up the human trafficking with the kids. But it was in Colombia where he went and infiltrated the minors at that hotel. It looked like a hotel resort on the outside, but actually it was torture type human trafficking on the inside. Each room had little kids in them, where these, again, he said that they flew from all over the country, $150,000 a year membership fee. I'm almost sure he said that they all came to Colombia for that particular time. So this is interesting.
We know how important the ties to Harvard are for Jeffrey. So while Bill Clinton was president, he worked very closely with the president of Colombia to create something called Plan Colombia. And this negotiation would dramatically increase financial aid to Colombia, giving a $1.3 billion package to Colombia to help them fight the high volume of substances that were being produced and sold in Colombia. This was the largest aid package that the United States had ever given to any Latin American countries. I'm not going to dive super far into Colombian political history. There is a lot of nuance to be had in that conversation. And as Americans, I think we have to recognize when we discuss history from around the world and even our own history, we have to peel back a few layers of propaganda to actually find the truth. We have to have conversations with people who lived through this history to find the truth. I also don't want to get too far off topic here. I'm just trying to show some connections. Again, regardless of the political climate that was happening, Ghislaine Maxwell still did not have the authority to
your
do
head
what
is
she allegedly
spinning,
did.
mine
In a
too.
nutshell, there were major financial dealings going on between the United States and Colombia in this period. The president of the United States at this time was a close associate of Jeffrey and Ghislaine. And the president of Colombia at this time was a close associate of Jeffrey and Ghislaine. Notably, in October of 1998, Bill Clinton pushed through a supplemental aid package for Colombia to the tune of $96 million. He completely skipped over the Appropriations Committee for approval and just pushed this funding through all by himself. When all is said and done, Colombia used that funding to acquire about 60 helicopters. Bill Clinton was harshly criticized for moving this aid package through without committee oversight. I mean, understandably, we see our president do stuff like that all the time, and it's infuriating, no matter who's in office.
And didn't he announce today that he was no longer going to fund Colombia or something? Trump.
Right or left. Don't do that. Hey, at the end of the day, the big tech companies and defense contractors who lobbied to make this deal happen were pleased. So all was well. We know that the United States engaged in a deal with Colombia that many perceived as shady. We know both presidents, the president of the United States and the president of Colombia, were very close to Jeffrey and Ghislaine at this time. We know Ghislaine could fly helicopters. If we read through some articles that were published in Colombia right around this time, we can see that there was a ton of helicopter activity being used against the paramilitary within Colombia. Like,
Was she dropping off kids in Colombia? By flying this helicopter? Was she dropping off kids to them? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
the FARC. We can also look at photos from around this time of the terror camps as Ghislaine described them. And they did have many tanks, just as Vikram had recalled in his article in 2002. In a very, very short time, Colombia had engaged in tens of thousands of hours of flight time in these Black Hawk helicopters once the aid package went through. And while we can't confirm that Ghislaine was one of those pilots, certainly wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for Ghislaine to have utilized her very powerful connections to hop up.
Okay, so I think that's it with this one. Now I'm going to go over to what was sex trafficking? Illegals for sex traffic into. Yeah, but they've made deals. They are, Janie Doe, no. They're not being transparent at all. They're part of the cover up as well. No, I don't agree with that. Nope. They are part of it. If they were a part of being transparent, they would have released the Epstein files. This is why they want them out so desperate. This is why they want them out so desperate. Want them out what? Jail? I mean, Sapphire, what you talking about? Want them out so desperately. Janie, though, Biden didn't come in saying that there was more to the Epstein case. So please be quiet. Shh, be quiet. He didn't campaign on it. He died under Biden. No, he died under Trump in jail allegedly, and Ghislaine Maxwell was she was prosecuted and found guilty under Biden. So shh, be quiet, be quiet, okay? Shh, be quiet, because what you're saying is crazy. Wanted them out of the country. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they still working. I think Epstein's still working, and Trump had him moved. Ain't no way in the world Trump should be having meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell and talking about transparency. Jane, you sound slow as hell. Don't stop drinking the Kool-Aid, baby. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid, and just don't say nothing else, so I won't have to remove you. I mean, get off that Kool-Aid. Telling you they trying to take you out. Yeah. I wonder what they gonna say when she disappears. Or she, and they gonna say, oh no, he didn't know. Yeah, right. He doing everything he can to stall. We're in the shutdown because his ass ain't being transparent. Lady, you better go ahead and leave respectfully. like we are witness protection. Yeah, Long. Yeah, but there's a lot of connections, man. I am telling you. And see, that's how he knew to bring up Clinton. That's how he knew to bring up Clinton. But did he forget everybody else that was in there as well? Or maybe he fully didn't know everything they had. You understand? Because if he wouldn't have opened his mouth, we just would have assumed that the two people were
Seeking the
either
ultimate restaurant
unalived
experience?
or locked
Introducing
up.
the Zonley Futon
I mean, it was
mattress.
his big
This
mouth that
versatile
kept it
minimalist
going. He should have never said nothing.
Loyalty. It was in
Now I hope Janet is still here because I'm finna try to finish. What time is it? 1:18. I need 15 likes really, really, really quick. I abruptly stopped this last night because y'all were being funny with the likes. Give me 15 likes. I will play this out. If not, I'm gonna cut it off again. And it was getting good. Guardians of got our government shut down, protecting these people. Yeah, Epstein gotta be alive. I mean, his spirit is haunting him or something, cause the U.S. is shut down because of the Epstein and the files, and they say Ghislaine Maxwell is living it up in prison. Now I'm finna exaggerate, but this is what it sounds like. I'm telling you, she got one of them Sealy Posturepedic beds where she got the control. She got a TV on her wall, you know, and desktop. She eating filet mignon, all of that. Trumpstein, yep. Yeah, I need 15 likes. I'm gonna shut it
Oxford
down.
University, studying modern history and languages. She was charming, bright, and eager to impress. Notably, Ivor turned British media baron. Her mother, a French academic, is
I
quiet,
don't remember this
cerebral,
part last
and
night.
often absent, physically and emotionally. But Ghislaine's birth wasn't met with celebration. Just majority leader and US envoy. Quick resume. US Senator from Maine from 1980 to 1995. Senate
Yesterday.
Majority Leader 19. Conspiracy theorist or reluctant whistleblower. The history of recurring tax debt. Mark has been a six-figure donor to Cooper Union and served as chair of its governing board
I
until
remember
resigning
this.
in 2015 after a financial crisis and student protests. He's also been involved in the Humpty Dumpty Institute, an international charity linked to members of Congress, to which he loaned over $100,000 in 2014. The brother's death. Most likely,
Yeah,
murdered.
I remember this
Everything
part.
changed in August of 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell. Officially, it was ruled a suicide by hanging, but Mark says that's a lie. They both came out of the autopsy room and said they couldn't call it a suicide because it looked too much like a homicide. Now that never appears in any government report. He told Crime Stories with Nancy Grace,
Yeah, I remember
referring to
this.
two forensic pathologists, Dr. Michael Baden and a city pathologist who examined the body. Mark claims the broken bones in Jeffrey's neck occur in less than 2% of suicides like this. He says New York's chief medical examiner, Dr. Barbara
Never
Sampson,
saw the body.
ruled it a suicide without even seeing the body. After the autopsy was over that day, we claimed the body. So she never saw it, he said. He's called the Justice Department's official report bullshit and blasted Trump-era FBI Director Kash Patel as a fucking moron for saying you know a suicide when you see one. The Trump connection. Mark has repeatedly insisted that Donald Trump and Jeffrey were extremely close in the 1990s and early 2000s. They were extremely close. I saw them together. Many people have seen them together, he told Channel 4's Kathy Newman. You've seen videos of them, parties and all over the place, and photographs. He claims Trump was in Jeffrey's office a lot in the early 90s when he was in financial trouble, and
Yep.
that there are witnesses who could testify to that. When the White House denied it, Mark called the statement just another blatant lie. In July of this year, he went
I don't
even
know,
further in an
Sapphire.
interview with Newsweek. In the 2016 election, We were talking about the election, and Jeffrey told me that if he said what he knew about the candidates, they would have to cancel the election. That's a quote. That's exactly what he told me. Mark says Jeffrey never told him the specifics, but...
Oh, he's talking about the candidates, Hillary. Okay.
We know that Jeffrey had dirt on Donald Trump. We know that. That's a fact. Trump has denied any wrongdoing.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey.
Just like Charlie.
Because he did something that was inappropriate.
Just like
Blah,
Charlie.
blah, 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 blah. Check out my full video on that.
Sapphire, just like Charlie.
Steve Bannon's 15 hours of Epstein footage. In 2021, the New York Post released a trailer for a documentary Steve Bannon, Trump's former chief strategist, was making about Jeffrey Epstein. It never came out. Mark says Bannon told him he filmed 15 or 16 hours of videotape with Jeffrey further in an interview with Newsweek. In the 2016 election, we were talking about the election, and Jeffrey told me that if he said what he knew about the candidates, they would have to cancel the election. That's a quote. That's exactly what he told me. Mark says Jeffrey never told him the specifics, but we know that Jeffrey had dirt on Donald Trump. We know that. That's a fact. Trump has denied any wrongdoing.
For years, I...
on Donald Trump. We office a lot in the early 90s when he was in financial trouble, and that there are witnesses who could testify to that. When the White House denied it, Mark called the statement just another blatant lie. In July of this year, he went even further in an interview with Newsweek. In the 2016 election, we were talking about the election, and Jeffrey told me that if he said what he knew about the candidates, they would have to cancel the election. That's a quote. That's exactly what he told me. Mark says Jeffrey never told him the specifics, but we know that Jeffrey had dirt on Donald Trump. We know that. That's a fact. Trump has denied any wrongdoing.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein because he did something that was inappropriate.
Blah, 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 blah. Check out my full video on that. Steve Bannon's 15 hours of Epstein footage. In 2021, the New York Post released a trailer for a documentary Steve Bannon, Trump's former chief strategist, was making about Jeffrey Epstein. It never came out. Mark says Bannon told him he filmed 15 or 16 hours of videotape with Jeffrey in 2018 and 2019, and he was, quote, trying to help Jeff rehabilitate his reputation. Mark's demand is simple. Let me see the videotapes. He's my brother. Bannon now says he'll release a 5-part series early next year. But Mark isn't holding his breath. The will that cut him out.
Y'all please hit the like button. I shouldn't have to keep telling y'all that.
2 days before his death, Jeffrey signed a will moving all $577 million of his assets into a private trust. If he had died without a will, Mark would have inherited everything. Instead, he got nothing. Mark says he's not a trustee, not a beneficiary, and has no idea who controls the trust.
He controls his own money.
Offer his Florida condo as collateral for Jeffrey's bail in 2019. Conspiracy theorist or reluctant whistleblower? To a lot of people, Mark is pushing a conspiracy theory.
He's
To
controlling
others,
his
he's
own
asking
money.
legitimate questions about a death that occurred under bizarre circumstances. Guards asleep, cameras malfunctioning, cell doors possibly unlocked. Stop covering things up and let a real honest homicide investigation take place. He told Australian media just last month. Somebody wanted to keep him quiet. So if you thought this was all just royals and family squabbles, think again. Epstein's files, court documents, and donations connect him directly to some of the most powerful politicians in America. From former presidents to current presidents and power players, these are the political figures, past and present, who've been linked to Epstein through fight logs, campaign donations, court records, and the occasional, oh, I barely knew him. And let's be clear, none of this is proof of a crime. But quiet. So if you're a relation of the US political figures that have ties to the... But if your name shows up next to Epstein, presidents and power players, these are the political figures, past and present, who've been linked to Epstein through fight logs, campaign donations, court records, and the occasional, oh, I barely knew him. And let's be clear, none of this is proof of a crime. But if your name shows up next to Epstein's often enough, people are going to start asking questions. And so, we are. Here's a little compilation of the US political figures that have ties to the Epstein case.
Who is
Bill
that?
Richardson, former New Mexico governor and UN ambassador. Quick resume. Former Governor of New Mexico, 2003 to 2011. US Ambassador to the United Nations, Energy Secretary under Bill Clinton, and a 2008 presidential candidate. Why he's here. In unsealed depositions, Virginia Giuffre claimed Ghislaine Maxwell sent her to New Mexico to give Richardson a massage, which in Epstein world often meant something. Bill Richardson, former New Mexico governor and UN ambassador. Quick resume. Former governor of New Mexico, 2003 to 2011. US Ambassador to the United Nations, Energy Secretary under Bill Clinton, and a 2008 presidential candidate. Why he's here. In unsealed depositions, Virginia Giuffre claimed Ghislaine Maxwell sent her to New Mexico to give Richardson a massage, which in Epstein world often meant something sexual. She couldn't remember the date or confirm if she was underage, but the allegation was on record. Richardson says it never happened. He says he's never even met Virginia, never seen Epstein with young girls, and that prosecutors told him he wasn't a target, subject, or witness. The New Mexico tie is very much worth noting. Epstein's sprawling Zorro Ranch appears over 24 times in unsealed documents, and Richardson's campaigns in 2002 and 2006 took donations from Epstein. Richardson says he and his wife...
Okay, so y'all tripping. 20 people fell up in here and didn't hit the like button. Oh, selective amnesia. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I'm talking about just recently. I said hit the like button and nobody did. And then the numbers jumped up to almost 20-something people and they didn't hit the like button. Double tap the face of your screen. I hit the thumbs up. I need 15 likes. I don't believe he is there. You talking about? Yeah, I think he's You talking about Charlie, or are you talking about Epstein? Sapphire, which one you don't think? Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, he over there in Israel. Now he could be over there in the UK teaching them how to do grooming games. That's a new one for me. The grooming game. Game. I need 15 likes. I'm not going anywhere until I get 15 likes. I'll tell you that now. I believe Israel for the same reason. Okay. Nunu. Hi, Nunu. Welcome. Can you hit the like button for me, Teresa Max out Jones? Can you hit double tap the face of your screen and hit the like button? Please. Just double tap. Or if you on your thank you. Somebody thank you. Yeah, I need 11 likes, y'all, so we can move forward. Thank you. I need 10 likes, y'all. Come on. The quicker you can do it, the quicker we can get to this. It's good tea off in here. I'm telling you. All we've been drinking is hot tea. Come on. 9. And every time I try to move on to see if y'all are going to be have integrity, soon as I start it back up, y'all don't hit the like button anymore. So come on, give me 9 likes. Or I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm way past my bedtime. Hot tea, not Kool-Aid. You right, the Jason Platt. Hot tea, not that nasty uh Coke tea, Coke Kool-Aid. Cause her memoirs come out in, what is today? In a few days, maybe Tuesday. I think her memoirs come out Tuesday. Oop, see, it done went off. No, hit the like button. Yes, 7 likes. Come on. Double taps. 7 likes. Because I don't want to stop no more. I want to take this on out. Specs done. Oh my God. And see, y'all gonna be really mad at me if I end it. Oh, y'all gonna be mad at me. Okay, so we stuck right here. Okay, y'all. I'm finna call it a night.
Wife visited the ranch once and even offered to help investigators. No charges on record. Richardson says it never happened. He says he's never even met Virginia, never seen Epstein with young girls, and that prosecutors told him he wasn't a target, subject, or witness. The New Mexico tie is very much worth noting. Epstein's sprawling Zorro ranch appears over 24 times in unsealed documents, and Richardson's campaigns in 2002 and 2006 took donations from Epstein. Richardson says he and his wife visited the ranch once and even offered to help investigators. No charges have ever been filed against him in relation to this.
Yeah, most
Bill Clinton, 42nd President of the United States. Quick resume. President from 1993 to 2001, former governor of Arkansas, founder of the Clinton Foundation, and a heavyweight in global politics.
I know you lying. All y'all that just fell up in here and didn't hit the like button. I know you lying. I know you a lie. And the truth ain't in you. It had went from 90-something to 120. And y'all didn't double tap that screen? Y'all might as well walk right on back out. Can you? Oh my God. Can y'all double tap the screen and get the likes up?
Why he's here. Flight logs show Clinton on Epstein's jet multiple times. Epstein world often meant something sexual. She couldn't remember the date or confirm if she was underage, but the allegation was on record. Richardson says it never happened. He says he's never even met Virginia, never seen Epstein with young girls, and that prosecutors told him he wasn't a target, subject, or witness. The New Mexico tie is very much worth noting. Epstein's sprawling Zorro Ranch appears over 24 times in unsealed documents, and Richardson's campaigns in 2002 and 2006 took donations from Epstein. Richardson says he and his wife visited the ranch once, and even offered to help investigators. No charges have ever been filed against him in relation to this. Bill Clinton, 42nd President of the United States. Quick resume. President from 1993 to 2001, former governor of Arkansas, founder of the Clinton Foundation, and a heavyweight in global politics. Why he's here. Flight logs show Clinton on Epstein's jet multiple times. Clinton says it was for 4 trips for foundation work, with Secret Service going along with him. Records suggest it was actually at least 27 flights. Epstein visited the White House at least 17 times while Clinton was president. Virginia alleged Clinton visited Epstein's private island. Clinton denies it. Secret Service logs don't show it, and no evidence confirms it. In January 2024, Clinton's name surfaced again in newly unsealed court documents from Virginia's civil suit against Ghislaine Maxwell. And in August 2025, the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed both Bill and Hillary Clinton as part of a broader probe into the Epstein case. But that's like federal law stuff, not over any direct allegation against him. Bill Clinton denies all wrongdoing and has never been charged in connection to Epstein. Howard Lutnick, Wall Street CEO and U.S. Commerce Secretary. Quick resume. CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald since 1991, major Wall Street figure, and current U.S. Secretary of Commerce. Why he's here. He owned 11
Hit the
East
like
21st
button.
Street, right next door to Epstein's notorious Manhattan townhouse.
Oh, he's the guy who, he that other semi-whistleblower. I need for y'all to double tap the face of your phone. Do this. Double tap if you haven't already. Or hit the thumbs up with the 3 dots at the top right hand of your computer.
Commerce Secretary. Quick resume. CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald since 1991, major Wall Street figure, and current U.S. Secretary of Commerce. Why he's here. He owned 11 East 71st Street, right next door to Epstein's notorious Manhattan townhouse. Before Lutnick bought it in 1998, the property was tied to Leslie Wexner, Epstein's billionaire associate, through a company where Epstein was vice president. By 2018, Lutnick had paid off the $4 million mortgage. The Commerce Department says Lutnick had no dealings with Epstein. Lutnick himself says he was simply a neighbor, a very unlucky one. Alexander Acosta, former U.S. Attorney and Secretary of Labor. Quick resume. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of California from 2005 to 2009, and U.S. Secretary of Labor under Donald Trump in 2017 to 2019. Why he's here. Alexander approved Epstein's infamous 2008 non-prosecution agreement. Epstein pleaded guilty to 2 state prostitution charges, served 13 months on work release, and got immunity for any potential co-conspirators. That deal effectively ended a federal sex trafficking probe that could have brought much harsher charges. The DOJ later called his actions poor judgment, but not misconduct. Alexander has claimed he was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and was above his pay grade. Public backlash forced his resignation in 2019, shortly after Epstein's rearrest. Alexander has never faced criminal charges over the deal, only criticism. And yeah, like he was in the government, so, you know. Also, I'm getting a lot of comments that his name is Alexander Acosta, and like I know that, but the New Zealand accent is sometimes too strong for words to work the way they're supposed to. So I apologize. Donald Trump, President of the United States. Quick resume. President. real estate developer, TV personality, and owner of Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. Why he's here. Trump and Epstein were Palm Beach neighbors in the 90s and early 2000s. They were photographed. Only criticism. And yeah, like he was in the government, so, you know. Also, I'm getting a lot of comments that his name is Alexander Costa, and like I know that, but the New Zealand accent is sometimes too strong for words to work the way they're supposed to. So I apologize. Donald Trump, President of the United States. Quick resume. President, real estate developer, TV personality, and owner of Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. Why he's here. Trump and Epstein were Palm Beach neighbors in the 90s and early 2000s. They were photographed together at events, including Trump's 1993 wedding. In 2002, Trump called Epstein a terrific guy who likes beautiful women almost as much as I do. A 1992 Mar-a-Lago video shows them laughing together while women dance around nearby. Trump reportedly flew on Epstein's plane in the 90s. By 2004, they had fallen out over a mansion sale. Trump later banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for allegedly harassing a teenage girl, something I'm sure they could both spot easily. George Mitchell, former Senate Majority Leader and U.S. envoy. Quick resume. U.S. Senator from Maine from 1980 to
looked like a
1995.
Costa.
Senate Majority Leader for 6 years and U.S. Special Envoy for Middle East Peace under President Obama. Why he's here. In court filings, Virginia alleged Epstein told her to have sex with Mitchell. Mitchell flatly denies this. He says he's never met her, and he calls the claims false. Epstein's pilot testified Mitchell flew on Epstein's plane, but said he never saw anything inappropriate. Speaking of politicians, Bill Clinton. The friendship with Bill and Epstein ran for decades, from White House visits to 17 or so flights on Epstein's plane to that bizarre painting of Clinton in a blue dress hanging in Epstein's mansion.
Monica.
A very different energy from Epstein's friendship with Trump, but strange all the same. Imagine stepping into Jeffrey Epstein's $77 million Manhattan mansion. The air is heavy with expensive cologne. The marble floors gleam and every wall is dripping with art. But right there, in pride of place, is something bizarre. A huge painting of Bill Clinton, yes, the former president of the United States, sprawled on a chair, wearing a bright blue dress and red heels, smiling like he knows exactly what you're thinking. It's not a joke from SNL. It was real. Visitors saw it. Someone took a photo, and now it's one of those little details that makes you ask, what exactly was going on between Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein? This isn't about one awkward piece of art. It's about a decades-long connection.
Blackmail.
Campaign donations, White House visits, globe-trotting trips, private island
Blackmail.
allegations, and more than a few eyebrow-raising quotes from the people who were there. So, let's put it all...
It was all about blackmail. Blackmail. Understand?
eyebrow-raising quotes from the people who were there. So, let's put it all out on the table. Early 1990s, the first ties. Our story starts in 1992. Bill Clinton's running for president, and Epstein cuts him a $1,000 campaign check. Not huge, but enough to get your name on the donor books. By 1993, Epstein's not just donating, he's physically at the White House. Records later show Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell visited 17 times during Bill Clinton's presidency, sometimes for donor receptions, and sometimes for private meetings. He even gave $10,000 to the White House Historical Association. Philanthropy, sure, but also a perfect way to integrate yourself with the president's inner circle. Mid-1990s, the social overlap. By the mid-90s, Clinton's orbit and Epstein's are starting to merge. High-dollar fundraisers in Palm Beach, charity events in New York, donor retreats. The same rich, powerful faces kept turning up in both men's calendars. Inside Epstein's world, people whispered about his tastes. One associate put it bluntly, Bill likes them young too. Now, to be clear, there's no proof Clinton ever committed a crime. But that's the thing about reputations in these circles. Sometimes the perception is enough to stick, whether it's fair or not. 2002, the Africa trip. By 2002, the connection is not just social, it's now logistical. Clinton launches a 5-country AIDS awareness tour across Africa, and flying alongside him is Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, and Jeffrey Epstein, whose private Boeing
AIDS awareness.
those young girls on board. It was disturbing. There were young girls on those flights. I didn't understand those young girls on right of choice. This is the Clinton ever committed a crime. But that's the thing about reputations in these circles. Sometimes the perception is enough to stick, whether it's fair or not. 2002, the Africa.
Okay. Oprah, I don't know. I haven't gotten this far down. I'm not sure, Sapphire. Yeah, please hit the like button.
Trip. By 2002, the connection is not just social, it's now logistical. Clinton launches a 5-country AIDS awareness tour across Africa, and flying alongside him is Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, and Jeffrey Epstein.
Chris Tucker. And the message were the tape conversation with Trump's former attorney. I guess that's what that guy name was. She definitely wanted us to know that Epstein kept in contact with Chris even after the Africa trip. Chris, I know you know better. She just said she just said that they went on the Africa trip and that they made contact a couple of times after the trip.
Whose private Boeing 727 was the ride of choice. This is the same jet tabloids later dubbed the Lolita Express. Kevin Spacey, of all people, would later recall, "I felt Epstein put the president at risk with those young girls on board. It was disturbing. There were young girls on those flights. I didn't understand at the time who they were or why they were there." During the trip, Bill Clinton was photographed getting a neck massage from Shantae Davies, a 22-year-old massage therapist who would later accuse Epstein of abuse. Clinton's office insists every trip was above board, with staff, foundation supporters, and his Secret Service detail present. But the imagery from the Africa tour, it's hard to shake. 2002 to 2003, the flights stack up. Officially, Bill Clinton says he took 4 trips on Epstein's plane between 2002 and 2003. 1 to Europe, 1 to Asia, and 2 to Africa. But the flight logs tell a different story. 17 flights, destinations like Morocco, China, Siberia, and Armenia. And curiously, some leagues without any recorded Secret Service present. He also stopped by Epstein's Manhattan mansion during this time. Yeah, this is the same house where that weird blue dress painting would one day hang. And he visited Epstein's office in Harlem. Question, sidebar, I don't really know how private jets work because, I'm not rich, but I'm wondering, how normal is it to need to borrow your mate's plane? Especially when you're the president. Does the leader of the free world need help securing transport? I'm just a bit confused as to how normal it is to be using your bed for a plane. Maybe it is a common thing. I don't know.
Way
Anyway,
more than
back to the
freaky.
timeline. 2003, the birthday book. For Epstein's 50th birthday, Ghislaine Maxwell curated a leather-bound album filled with personal notes from his friends. Bill Clinton's entry wasn't some generic best wishes. It was warm.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. On that picture right there, they both look dorky and Frankensteinish. Oh yeah, they both look. What in the hell? They look like they had some freaky, crazy, satanic something going on. Like she had just drunk some juice, some blood. Look at him. What is that? Oh my goodness. What is that cartoon? Not a cartoon, but that old show, the little red-headed boy with the freckles, with the funny. I think he wasn't he some commercial. Oh my god! All he need was some red hair and some freckles. Dennis the Menace. And she almost looked like one of them Adams family. Oh Lord, what is this? Doom 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 doom. Howdy, yeah, howdy doody, he do right there. I was finna give y'all my best. Doom 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 doom. I'm sleeping. Y'all should have let me went to sleep. What in the world? Howdy doody. Howdy doody. These clowns right here. Freaky clowns. That's what y'all is. Let's go.
Generic best wishes. It was warm, personal, handwritten.
Don't drink
it's
the
reassuring,
Kool-Aid.
isn't it? To have lasted as long across all the years of learning and knowing.
Oh, I went to. Let's go.
2003.
Let's
the
go.
birthday book. For Epstein's 50th birthday, Ghislaine Maxwell curated a leather-bound album filled with personal notes from his friends. Bill Clinton's entry wasn't some generic best wishes. It was warm, personal, handwritten. It's reassuring, isn't it? To have lasted as long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventure and something else. And also to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. What? What does that even mean?
Right.
2003. Little St. James allegations. This is also the year former Clinton aide Doug Band says Clinton visited Epstein's private island, Little St. James. Bill Clinton denies this completely. But in a never-published memoir draft, Virginia Giuffre...
Girl, Bill Clinton say he didn't sleep with Monica Lewinsky either. He say that he didn't get... She wasn't up under that desk slobbing on his knob. And we all know that's a lie. Hi, John. Did you hit the like button? Can you please hit the like button coming in? I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, so we don't believe nothing Billy say. Oh, who done got me spinning? Come on, stop spinning. Come on, let's go.
denies this completely. But in a never-published memoir draft, Virginia Giuffre claims she saw Clinton's difference and the solace of friends. What? What does that even mean? 2003. Little St. James allegations. This is also the year former Clinton aide Doug Band says Clinton visited Epstein's private island, Little St. James. Bill Clinton denies this completely. But in a never-published memoir draft, Virginia Giuffre claims she saw Clinton at a dinner there with two lovely girls, describing him as teasing the girls on either side of him with playful pokes and brassy comments, strolling into the darkness with two beautiful girls around either arm. Bill seemed content to retire for the evening. Unproven? Yes. Damaging? Absolutely. 2005 to 2007. Epstein implodes. By 2005, the Palm Beach police are investigating Epstein for sexually abusing minors. A federal indictment is looming in 2006. But in 2007, Epstein strikes a sweetheart non-prosecution deal. He pleads guilty to soliciting prostitution from a minor and serves just 13 months, most of it on work release. Check out my other video on this. It is a super key detail in the whole saga of Epstein, so I won't get into the details again here today, but go check that out because that's crazy. Through all of this though, Clinton stays quiet. His office will later say that his last contact with Epstein was in 2003. 2010, dinner at the townhouse. Fast forward to December of 2010. Epstein is a registered sex offender. He's already done his jail time. And yet, Clinton shows up at a dinner in Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, hosted by Ghislaine Maxwell. The guest list is, your A-listers. You got Chelsea Handler, Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos. No one's ever explained exactly why Clinton went. Maybe it was networking. Maybe curiosity. Time. And yet, Clinton shows up at a dinner in Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, hosted by Ghislaine Maxwell. The guest list is, your A-listers. You got Chelsea Handler, Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos. No one's ever explained exactly why Clinton went. Maybe it was networking. Maybe curiosity. But the optics here are terrible. The man is a registered sex offender. What made you show up? Did you get FOMO or did you have to? A lot to ponder on that one, team. A lot to ponder. Wonder if anyone's blackmailing anyone. I don't know.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. 2015, the flight logs surfaced. In 2015, court filings from a Florida case make Epstein's detailed flight logs public. They confirm Clinton took multiple trips on Epstein's plane. His office doubles down. 4 trips, always with staff and Secret Service. But in the public's mind, 4 doesn't match 17. 2019, Epstein arrested again. July 6, 2019, Epstein is arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. 2 days later, Bill Clinton issues a statement. President Clinton knows nothing about the terrible crimes Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to in Florida some years ago, or those with which he has been recently charged in New York. He repeats the 4 trips line, and yet, as media coverage intensifies, one strange detail keeps popping back up. That freaky painting. The artist later said she had sold it years earlier and had never met Epstein. But why did Epstein own it? Why hang it? Was it an inside joke? A humiliation trophy? Or something else entirely? August 2019.
Blackmail.
Epstein dies. In August 2019, Epstein is found dead in his Manhattan jail cell. Officially, suicide. Publicly, 1,000 conspiracy theories bloom overnight. Clinton stays silent. The questions...
Can anybody explain all that orange stuff in there for a person who was on suicide watch? I mean, did they give him something to take? Who can justify bringing him all of that stuff if he was the only one in that cell? It is just, I don't want to say over. I mean, it's just overdone. Okay, y'all keep coming in, but y'all not hitting the like button. That is disrespectful. If you came in and didn't double tap your screen, hit the thumbs up button, hit the 3 dots at the top right. If you came in and did not do that, please leave. We don't want to share IT with you. It's too good. It is just way too good. If you did not hit the like button, I didn't ask you for super chat, super sticker. I ain't asked you to help me reach no goal. I didn't ask you for none of that. All I asked you to do is double tap the face of your phone or hit the like button. And if you cannot do that, it's too late for me to have this conversation with you. Just get out. We don't want to share. Thank you, Fireball. Tia Fireball. Hey. We don't want to share. Our tea is too good. Get out.
Don't. 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell is arrested. In July 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell is arrested. Doug Bann tells Vanity Fair he warned Clinton years earlier to cut ties with both Epstein and Maxwell, and repeats his claim that Clinton visited the island.
Ooh.
Clinton spokesperson repeats the denial. 2024, the birthday album resurfaces. The Wall Street Journal published photos of Epstein's 2003 birthday album. Clinton's personal note is there, a time capsule from when their friendship seemed comfortable, even close. 2025, Congress steps in. On August 6 of 2025, the U.S. House Oversight Committee subpoenas both Bill and Hillary Clinton, saying that they have credible evidence, travel records, photos, correspondence, that raised serious questions about the nature of Clinton's relationship with Epstein. Clinton's team says he's already addressed the matter and has nothing further to add. This whole thing, though, the subpoenas, it's kind of like...
I ain't gonna even
On
lie.
August
Bill
6th of
looked
2025, the U.S.
wicked
House
right
Oversight
there.
Committee subpoenas both Bill and Hillary Clinton, saying that they have credible evidence, travel records, photos, correspondence, that raise serious questions about the nature of Clinton's relationship with Epstein. Clinton's team says
This is...
he's already addressed the matter.
He looked wicked right here. He looked like the Willy Wonka man. Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. Yeah, he looked wicked. Yeah. Come on.
And has nothing further to add. This whole thing, though, the subpoenas, it's kind of like smoke and mirrors. This is a federal thing, and although Fox News keeps reporting Bill as prime suspect, that is essentially totally inaccurate. The House Oversight Committee, headed by Republicans, have subpoenaed the DOJ for all the Epstein investigative materials, unredacted if possible, and they've called in high-profile figures including Bill and Hillary Clinton, demanding they sit for depositions later this year. Just the other day, the Trump administration made a really big song and dance about unsealing some pointless Ghislaine files that had nothing in them. This may just be part of all that. The witness list also includes other big names like James Comey and Robert Mueller. So don't misunderstand and think they're just coming at Bill and Hillary. They're coming after everything and everyone. No Epstein story is complete without Ghislaine Maxwell. She wasn't just his girlfriend. She was his fixer, his recruiter, his gatekeeper, and she ended up in prison for it. While she's in prison, the Trump administration tried to use her name as a political distraction, hyping up the release of secret grand jury testimony that turned out to be basically nothing. How does the daughter of a billionaire, Oxford educated, fluent in 5 languages, end up recruiting teenage girls for a sex trafficker?
Are you happy? I am happy.
From the outside, Ghislaine Maxwell had it all. Wealth, charms,
Girl, why did it
connections
take
to
you that
royalty.
long to
But behind
answer?
the smile... No Epstein story is complete without Ghislaine Maxwell. She wasn't just his girlfriend. She was his fixer, his recruiter, his gatekeeper, and she ended up in prison for it. While she's in prison, the Trump administration tried to use her name as a political distraction, hyping up the release of secret grand jury testimony that turned out to be basically nothing. How does the daughter of a billionaire, Oxford educated, fluent in 5 languages, end up recruiting teenage girls for a sex trafficker?
Are you happy? I am happy.
From the outside, Ghislaine Maxwell had it all. Wealth, charms, connections to royalty. But behind the smiles and the yachts was a woman shaped by power and addicted to it. She didn't just cover for Jeffrey Epstein. She enabled him, trained victims, managed logistics, built the whole machine. From a 53-room mansion in Oxford to a 6x9 prison cell in Florida, this is the rise, fall, and unraveling of Ghislaine Maxwell. How she got here, what she did, and the twisted legacy she's still fighting to control. 1961, born into wealth and shadow. Ghislaine Noel Marion Maxwell was born on Christmas Day, 1961, in France, into power, into prestige, and a family already falling apart. She's the 9th and youngest child of Robert and Elizabeth Maxwell. Her father is a larger-than-life figure, a Czech-born Holocaust survivor turned British media baron. Her mother, a French academic, is quiet, cerebral, and often absent, physically and emotionally.
She said with a family already falling apart.
But behind the smiles and the yachts was a woman shaped by power and addicted to it. She didn't just cover for Jeffrey Epstein. She enabled him, trained victims, managed logistics, built the whole machine. From a 53-room mansion in Oxford to a 6x9 prison cell in Florida, this is the rise, fall, and unraveling of Ghislaine Maxwell. How she got here, what she did, and the twisted legacy she's still fighting to control. 1961. Born into wealth and shadow, Ghislaine Noelle Marion Maxwell was born on Christmas Day, 1961, in France, into power, into prestige, and a family already falling apart. She's the ninth and youngest child of Robert and Elizabeth Maxwell. Her father is a larger-than-life figure, a Czech-born Holocaust survivor turned British media baron. Her mother, a French academic, is quiet, cerebral, and often absent, physically and emotionally. But Ghislaine's birth wasn't met with celebration. Just 3 days before she was born, her 15-year-old brother Michael was in a catastrophic car accident that left him in a coma. For the next 6 years, her parents were consumed with grief and medical care. Ghislaine, by her own mother's admission, was neglected. At just 3 years old, Ghislaine stood in front of her mother and declared, "Mummy, I exist." That quote would follow her for the rest of her life and might be the most psychologically
I don't know
revealing
no
thing
3-year-old
she'd
that can
ever
say
seen.
that.
1970s. Daddy's girl. The Maxwell family was rich, glamorous, and deeply dysfunctional. They lived in Headington Hill Hall, a 53-room mansion in Oxford, which Robert Maxwell cheekily called the best council house in the country because it was technically leased from Oxford City Council. Inside the grand estate, the atmosphere was tense, paranoid, and emotionally barren. Robert was feared by everyone, staff, executives, even his children. He was authoritarian, controlling, and capable of explosive rages. He spied on his employees, bugged their phones, and demanded absolute loyalty. He publicly humiliated his children and sent them up to compete with each other for approval. But Ghislaine was different. She was his favorite. She was given horses, tutors, and access to his inner circle. When she got into Oxford, just like Daddy, he was proud. But the favoritism came with strings. Ghislaine learned early that survival meant submission. To be loved meant to be useful. And when power yelled, you smiled. 1980s, The Apprentice. After graduating from Marlborough College, Ghislaine attended Balliol College at Oxford University, studying modern history and languages. She was charming, bright, and eager to impress. Notably, she was one of the few women regularly invited to the all-male dining clubs where her father socialized. Robert was already grooming her for business. He installed her as a director at Oxford United Football Club. She briefly ran a corporate gift.
There go that word grooming again. Oh, y'all, it's still a lot left on here. Let's go.
Company that he bought for her, but she wasn't truly independent. Everything she had came through him, grooming her for business. He installed her as a director at Oxford United Football Club. She briefly ran a corporate gift company that he bought for her, but she wasn't truly independent. Everything she had came through him. In 1986, he bought a lavish yacht and named it the Lady Ghislaine, an ultimate display of ownership and affection. Looking back, many biographers argue that Ghislaine never truly individuated. She moved from her father's dominance straight into Epstein's. It wasn't just loyalty, it was imprinting. 1991, the death that changed everything. In November 1991, Robert Maxwell vanished from the deck of his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine. Days later, his bloated body was found in the Atlantic. Ghislaine was reportedly inconsolable, collapsing in public. Her world shattered.
Life is sad. It's always very sad when you lose a parent, but you have to go on.
And then came the scandal. Auditors discovered that Robert had looted £440 million from company pension funds. He died a disgraced thief. His empire collapsed. 2 of her brothers were arrested for fraud. In November 1991, Robert Maxwell vanished from the deck of his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine. Days later, his bloated body was found in the Atlantic. Ghislaine was reportedly inconsolable, collapsing in public. Her world shattered.
Life is sad. It's always very sad when you lose a parent, but you have to go on.
And then came the scandal. Auditors discovered that Robert had looted £440 million from company pension funds. He died a disgraced thief. His empire collapsed. 2 of her brothers were arrested for fraud. Ghislaine's reputation in Britain became radioactive. She fled to New York on a one-way ticket, determined to rebuild. This moment, her father's death and disgrace, was her origin story. She was orphaned not just emotionally, but socially, and she needed a new patron. 1992, enter Epstein. Once in Manhattan, Ghislaine moved fast. She tapped into her high society contacts, mingling with billionaires, royals, and celebrities. And soon, she met Jeffrey Epstein, a secretive financier with enormous wealth and no obvious origin story. They quickly became an item. But even when the romantic side allegedly fizzled out, their bond remained. Ghislaine wasn't just his girlfriend. She was his partner in ambition. She introduced him to the elite. She organized his social life. And according to victims and prosecutors, she facilitated his abuse. 1994 to 1997, the grooming begins. Multiple women testified that during this period, Ghislaine began actively recruiting underage girls for Epstein. Annie Farmer says she met Ghislaine at 16 years old. Ghislaine took her shopping, gave her a topless massage, and created an environment where boundaries blurred. Her older sister, Maria Farmer, had already reported Epstein and Maxwell to the FBI in 1996, but nothing happened. Virginia Guffrey, then Virginia Roberts, said Maxwell approached her at Mar-a-Lago when she was just 16 years old. She was working at the spa. Maxwell offered her a massage job. What followed was years of trafficking. She trained me, Virginia later said. She told me what Epstein liked, how to please him, what to wear. 2000, running the empire. Maxwell moved into a $5 million Manhattan townhouse paid for by Epstein. She ran his properties, hired staff, scheduled travel, and allegedly recruited girls. Victims called her the lady of the house. Staffers were told to never look Epstein in the eye. Maxwell reportedly kept a list of available girls. She was not peripheral. She was the architect of his world. 2005, cracks in the wall. A 14-year-old girl told Palm Beach police that Epstein had molested her during a massage. Police launched an investigation. They found dozens of victims. Some said Maxwell had recruited them. The FBI was informed, but no charges were brought yet. Epstein gets offered an unbelievable plea deal. 13 months in jail, mostly on work release, and he avoids federal charges. The deal also granted immunity to potential co-conspirators, including Ghislaine. So she again slips away untouched. But Virginia Guffrey sues, naming Maxwell. She says she was trafficked to powerful men, including Prince Andrew. Maxwell denies it. The case is settled in 2017. 2012, the Ocean Savior Act. In a bizarre PR pivot, Maxwell launches the Terramar Project, a marine conservation nonprofit. She speaks at the UN, partners with media outlets, and rides submarines around. It's brand rehab. But by now, journalists are...
Holla. So she flies helicopters in for Colombia. Black Hawk. Now, Tomahawk. What is... That's not... Ukraine asking Trump for right now. Ain't he asking for helicopters? And isn't Trump blowing up submarines and shit right about now? It's the boats and submarines. Didn't they blow up submarines? Didn't he blow up a submarine? In Ukraine. Wasn't it, aren't they in negotiation about some tomahawks or Black Hawks. Why is he all of a sudden blowing up? I think I'm gonna tell y'all this. Because I remember when, oh excuse me, Trump was in that office when it went from the White House, the White Office to a gold office, and he was making deals with Venezuela, and he was sending people to Venezuela. He made deals with him, and and that man turned on Trump, and he started blowing. I think they had drug deals that he don't want to get busted, and he blowing them up just out of nowhere, just for no reason. They haven't been investigated or nothing, and he just shooting in the water, almost like he knocking down everything that him and that man negotiated before that man. He didn't renege. He just told that he could go and get those that man. I can't think of his name. I'm sleepy. That he took over there without permission, and the man wasn't supposed to be over there because he excessive. Oh, excuse me. And after that, Trump just started blowing up everything Venezuela tried having the water. I think it's way more than that. I think he's trying to cover up some deals.
Deal. 13 months in jail, mostly on work release, and he avoids federal charges. The deal also granted immunity to potential co-conspirators, including Ghislaine. So she again
It did not
slips
include
away
Ghislaine.
untouched. But Virginia Guthrie,
It did not include Ghislaine.
Epstein gets offered an unbelievable plea deal. 13 months in jail, mostly on work release, and he avoids federal charges. The deal also granted immunity to potential co-conspirators, including Ghislaine. So she again slips away untouched. But Virginia Guthrie sues, naming Maxwell. She says she was trafficked to powerful men, including Prince Andrew. Maxwell denies it. The case is settled in 2017. 2012, the Ocean Savior Act. In a bizarre PR pivot, Maxwell launches the Terramar Project, a marine conservation nonprofit. She speaks at the UN, partners with media outlets, and rides submarines around. It's brand rehab. But by now, journalists are digging. Lawsuits are piling up, and her past is catching up with her. 2019, everything implodes. July 6, Epstein is arrested again for sex trafficking minors across state lines. On August 10th, Epstein is found dead in his jail cell. The autopsy says suicide, but the guards were asleep, the cameras failed, and we all know public suspicion is still what it is today. At this point, Ghislaine vanishes. Her nonprofit shuts down overnight, and her lawyers go silent. 2019, CIA and cheeseburgers. Weeks after Epstein's death, a staged paparazzi photo surfaces. Maxwell at an In-N-Out burger reading a book about CIA operatives. It's fake, staged, spun, and honestly kind of weird. In reality, Ghislaine was hiding out in luxury homes all around the operatives. It's fake, staged, spun, and honestly kind of weird. In reality, Ghislaine was kind of weird. In reality, Ghislaine was hiding out in luxury homes all around the US with armed guards and encrypted tech. July 2nd, 2020.
Armed guards.
FBI agents raid a $1 million New Hampshire estate she bought in cash under a fake name. She's arrested and charged with the following: inciting minors to travel for sex, sex trafficking, perjury, and conspiracy. She pleads not guilty, but prosecutors call her a flight risk with global connections, which she was. 2021, countdown to the trial. Maxwell gets denied bail multiple times. She complains about jail conditions, paper clothes, invasive searches, no sleep. Her lawyers argue she's a scapegoat, but victims are ready to testify. 4 women testify. All say Maxwell was an active participant in Epstein's abuse. One says Ghislaine gave her a schoolgirl outfit and told her to serve Epstein tea. The defense attempts to paint these victims as confused or greedy, but the jury is not having it. December 29, 2021, guilty. Ghislaine Maxwell is convicted on 5 of 6 charges: sex trafficking a minor, transporting a minor for sex, conspiracy. The verdict is clear. She wasn't a bystander. She was a predator's enabler and sometimes his partner. June 28, 2022, sentencing. Ghislaine is sentenced to 20 years in prison. The judge calls her behavior heinous and predatory. I would agree with that. Survivors speak in court. Maxwell, still defiant, offers no apology. She simply says, "I hope this brings you peace." 2023 to 2025 start the spin cycle. From prison, she's given some jailhouse interviews. She claims Epstein was murdered.
I believe that he was murdered.
That the Prince Andrew photo was fake. That she was duped and that prison is hell. Go, I hope it is. She's still got no guilt, no accountability. 2025, her final power play starts. In July 2025, Ghislaine Maxwell re-enters the spotlight, not from prison, but from Washington's political power corridors. Here's what's happening right now. Her legal team has officially responded to a congressional subpoena, offering to testify before the House Oversight Committee, but only if 4 critical conditions are met. Formal immunity from any future prosecution, a deposition outside prison in Washington, D.C., advance access to the questions she'll be asked, and a pardon or clemency granted by President Trump. So basically, she gets away with all of it. Maxwell's lawyers argue that she's prepared to expose a list of up to 100 individuals tied to Epstein's network, but she needs legal protection first. Otherwise, they say, she'll invoke her Fifth Amendment rights and refuse to testify. Basically, translation, this yucky, disgusting woman knows all of these 100 people that she could have said any time in any of the trials, any time that she's been in prison, but no, she will only say who these predators are who are still at large if she can be confirmed to just get away with it. I'm sorry to be worked up, but I find that absolutely disgusting. Oversight Committee has firmly rejected her request for immunity, and the hearing is officially scheduled for August 11 to take place at the Tallahassee Federal Prison, where she's serving her rightly deserved 20-year sentence. Yet political tensions are high. Senate Democrats, invoking an obscure rule of 5, are demanding full FBI files on the Epstein case before that August 15th date. Meanwhile, President Trump hasn't ruled out a pardon for his old friend, but insists no one has actually asked him for one. If you want to understand Ghislaine Maxwell, her rise, her fall, and her uncanny attraction to powerful men with secrets, you have to look at her father. Robert Maxwell wasn't just a media mogul. He was a war hero, a fraudster, a suspected spy, and a man whose mysterious death still fuels conspiracy theories 3 decades later. This is the story of the man nicknamed the Bouncing Czech, who climbed from a wooden shack in Czechoslovakia to the heights of British power, only to fall, quite literally, from his yacht into infamy. And like all great scandals, it leaves us with one big question. Who exactly was Robert Maxwell? From poverty to power. Robert Maxwell wasn't born Maxwell at all. He was Jan Ludwig Hock, born in 1923 to a poor Jewish family in Czechoslovakia.
They can sure change their name, can't they? Oh, I am so sleepy. Oh. Y'all, please hit the like button. Oh, these people killing me changing their names.
To power. Robert Maxwell wasn't born Maxwell at all. He was Jan Ludwig Hock, born in 1923 to a poor Jewish family in Czechoslovakia. His early life was marked by tragedy. Most of his family were murdered at Auschwitz. At just 16, he fled Nazi occupation, cut off the side locks that marked him as a Hasidic, and escaped to France. From there, he joined the Czechoslovak army in exile, eventually transferring to the British Army. He distinguished himself in battle and won the Military Cross in 1945 for storming a German machine gun nest. By then, he had reinvented himself as Ian Robert Maxwell. This was the first of many reinventions. As one biographer put it, Maxwell created his own myths as a kind of smokescreen to hide behind, building an empire and enemies. After the war, Maxwell dove into publishing, securing the rights to distribute scientific papers through his company, Pergamon Press. By the 1960s, he had built it into a powerhouse. But scandal was never far away. A government inquiry in 1971 declared Maxwell, not in our opinion, a person who can be relied on to exercise proper stewardship of a publicly quoted company. Ouch. Still, he clawed back, and in 1984 he finally achieved his dream, buying the Mirror Group, home of the Daily Mirror. Now he was a tabloid king, and a rival to Rupert Murdoch. The two despised each other. As Murdoch later said bluntly, Maxwell was a crook and a total buffoon. But Maxwell wasn't just about newspapers. He bought helicopter companies, football clubs, language schools, and even the New York Daily News. He dined with world leaders, posed with Princess Diana, chatted to Margaret Thatcher, and rubbed shoulders with US presidents. All the while, people whispered that Maxwell had ties to MI6, the KGB, and Mossad, maybe even all three. Alleged double or triple agent, visionary or spy, who knew? The monster at home. Maxwell's empire wasn't the only place he ruled with an iron fist. At home in Headington Hill Hall, the Oxford mansion he famously called the best council house in the country, he was a terrifying patriarch. Family lunches were nightmares. His children later recalled sitting in fear, waiting for his gaze to land on them. He humiliated them in public. Biographer John Preston described it as the searchlight beam of her father's gaze moving around the table towards her. Bit creepy. Only one child seemed safe, Ghislaine. She was the youngest, born in 1961, and by all accounts, his favorite. She was his constant companion at events, from Elton John's birthday party to football matches. He even named his yacht after her, the Lady Ghislaine. Betty Maxwell, her mother, later recalled, Ghislaine is the baby of the family and the one who was closest to her father. The whole of Ghislaine's world collapsed after his death. Scandals, secrets, and the shadow of Israel. By the 1980s, Maxwell was living large, but cracks were showing. He was drowning in debt, borrowing from dozens of banks. To keep up appearances, he began secretly raiding his company's pension funds, ultimately leaving a £460 million hole. At the same time, he became deeply involved with Israel. He invested heavily in Israeli businesses.
There go Israel. Are we surprised, Lord?
He was drowning in debt, borrowing from dozens of banks. To keep up appearances, he began secretly raiding his company's pension funds, ultimately leaving a £460 million hole. At the same time, he became deeply involved with Israel. He invested heavily in Israeli businesses, donated millions,
like Trump,
and was close to political leaders, including Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir. Then came darker rumors. Whistleblowers claimed Maxwell helped Mossad sell doctored software called Promise, which contained a hidden backdoor, letting Israel spy on governments worldwide. Was this guy a businessman, a patriot, or a spy trading secrets? Like, what was going on? Maxwell denied all of that, but those suspicions have really never gone away. The fall of Captain Bob. By late 1991, Maxwell was cornered. His companies were collapsing under billions in debt. Banks were circling. A BBC Panorama investigation was digging into his financial irregularities, and his own finance director was demanding answers about the missing pension money. On November 5th, 1991, Maxwell vanished from his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, off of the Canary Islands. Hours later, his naked body was found floating in the Atlantic. The official verdict? Heart attack, accidental drowning. But right off the bat, few people believed it. One former colleague insisted Maxwell had been suicidal. He was a man who could not face the ignominy of jail. So, I am a suicide theorist. Others thought it was a clumsy accident. Photographer Ken Lennox, who saw his body, recalled, "He used to get up at night and pee over the stern of the ship. I think he lost his balance because he was very top-heavy." Then, of course, there's the murder theory. Ghislaine herself claimed he was pushed. Conspiracy theorists pointed fingers at Mossad, suggesting Maxwell tried to extort Israel and paid the price. Adding fuel to the fire, his body was buried in Jerusalem with what was essentially a state funeral. The Prime Minister at the time attended. Mossad's chiefs were there too. For some, that was proof that he'd been more than just a businessman. Meanwhile, Leslie Wexner, the man behind Victoria's Secret, quietly gave Epstein billions in access, power of attorney over his fortune, and even the mansion he lived in. Their bizarre friendship continues to raise questions. Epstein weaponized Wexner's brand too, posing as a talent scout for Victoria's Secret models and allegedly luring victims with the company's prestige. Leslie Wexner built a retail empire. Jeffrey Epstein built a sex trafficking ring. And for 2 decades, their lives, fortunes, and secrets were deeply, shockingly intertwined. This is the story of how the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret became the man who gave Epstein power, protection, and maybe even cover. The strange, scandalous bond between Leslie Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein. Let's set the scene. It's the late 1980s. Leslie Wexner is riding high. He's already a retail kingpin, founder of The Limited, owner of Victoria's Secret, and one of the richest men in America. But something's missing. Maybe it's excitement, maybe it's companionship, maybe it's just someone to trust with all his billions. Enter Jeffrey Epstein. Who exactly brought this guy in? That depends who you ask. But one thing is clear. Once Epstein entered Wexner's world, he didn't just become his money manager. He became his gatekeeper, his fixer, his shadow, his confidant, and maybe, just maybe, his greatest liability. How a Brooklyn math teacher got power of attorney over a billionaire. Jeffrey Epstein's resume was thin, to put it mildly. College dropout and former high school teacher, Epstein briefly worked at Bear Stearns before being forced out over irregularities with expenses and rumors of an inappropriate relationship with a secretary. But for what Epstein lacked in qualifications, he made up for in charm and manipulation. According to a 2021 Vanity Fair investigation, Epstein wormed his way into Wexner's orbit after convincing insurance mogul Robert Meister that Wexner's financial advisor was stealing from him. Epstein pitched himself as a bounty hunter for rich people's money, and Meister introduced him to Wexner. That one intro changed everything. Despite warnings from people close to him, Wexner handed Epstein the keys to the kingdom, literally. In July 1991, Wexner signed a power of attorney that allowed Epstein to hire and fire, buy and sell, borrow money, sign checks, anything in Wexner's name. You know, like, this isn't just like, oh, I trust you with all my investments. This was like, here's my whole life, from financial advisor to puppet master. The 1990s saw Epstein's fingerprints all over Wexner's empire. He managed construction of Wexner's $100 million super yacht, Limitless. He oversaw real estate deals. He even ran Wexner's charities and signed off on the family's tax filings. He also somehow ended up living in some of the most extravagant properties Wexner ever owned. Epstein acquired a $77 million mansion on East 71st Street in Manhattan, previously Wexner's, for free. Like, he just gave him the house. Unlimited owned Boeing 727, that ended up in Epstein's hands too. In Columbus, Ohio, Epstein bought a 10,000 square foot home right next to Wexner for $3.5 million. Years later, Wexner's company quietly bought it back for more than double. How did a high school math teacher turned Wall Street outcast manage all this? 2 words: complete control. Epstein was the trustee of a dozen shadowy trusts tied to Wexner, selling off over $1.3 billion worth of stock in the Limited. Some of that money went to charity, some of it, according to ABC News and researcher Tom Volshko, lined Epstein's pockets through suspiciously timed purchases, like private islands, jets, luxury condos. In 2019, the Wall Street Journal reported that Epstein earned at least $200 million from Wexner. Some insiders say the real number may be closer to $400 million. Les would do anything for me. Epstein didn't just manage Wexner's money, he managed his life. According to Epstein, the two were closer than family.
They were
Les knows
lovers.
everything about me. He knows every experience I've had, Epstein once said. He inserted himself into Wexner's personal relationships, even reportedly offering a breakup bribe to a woman Wexner was dating. When Wexner did get married in 1993, Epstein helped write the prenup and sat in his mother's seat at the wedding. Bella Wexner, Les Wexner's domineering mother, hated Epstein, and she wasn't the only one. Former security chief Jerry Merritt recalled Epstein posturing with a gun he clearly didn't know how to use. Employees said Epstein would call them and speak without introducing himself because, in his mind, he was already their boss. Even senior executives at the Limited were alarmed. One said, Les berated people, but with Epstein, he'd put his hand on his shoulder. Another recalled Epstein once declaring himself the one to decide Abercrombie & Fitch's IPO share price. Like, this was madness. Multiple people, including Wexner's longtime advisor Harold Levin, warned Wexner directly. Epstein was a fraud, but Wexner didn't listen. From Victoria's Secret to Victoria's Scout, here's where things get a bit darker. Epstein didn't just use Wexner's fortune, he used his brand, especially Victoria's Secret, as a lure. At least 2 women have said Epstein posed as a Victoria's Secret talent scout in the 90s and early 2000s. In 1997, model Alicia Arden told Santa Monica police that Epstein groped her after inviting her to audition for Victoria's Secret. She thought she was meeting with someone who had Wexner's blessing. He did not. Elizabeth Tai, another model, had a similar story to his New York mansion under the same pretense, stripped naked, and handed her a vibrator. A Victoria's Secret executive confirmed to the New York Times that they'd reported Epstein's behavior to Wexner in the mid-1990s. What, if anything, did he do? Well, that remains murky, but looks like probably nothing. Wexner has since claimed he had no knowledge of Epstein's abuse, but victims and former employees say the signs were there and loud. The Maria Farmer horror story. Perhaps one of the more chilling connections between Wexner and Epstein came through artist Maria Farmer. In 1996, Epstein convinced Farmer to spend the summer painting at Wexner's private Ohio compound. What she didn't realize, this isolated property had security guards with guns and dogs, and she needed permission to jog outside. Farmer alleges that she was sexually assaulted by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell there. When she called 911, she says the dispatcher told her, "We work for Wexner." She fled to New York and reported it to the FBI, but they never followed up. Farmer's younger sister Annie was also abused at Epstein's New Mexico ranch, and both women say the Wexners enabled this by giving Epstein cover, credibility, and access. In 2021, L Brand shareholders sued the Wexners in Delaware, accusing Abigail Wexner of acquiescence while Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell sexually assaulted Maria Farmer in the New Albany compound, the town that Wexner built. So yeah, he built his own weird town. At first glance, New Albany, Ohio looks like something out of a postcard. Wide, brick-paved streets, white picket fences, Georgian architecture, horse stables, a town square that could double as a movie set. But this isn't just small town Americana or another season of Gilmore Girls. This is Wexnerville. It was here, according to Maria Farmer, that she was sent by Epstein to work on her art. And later, where she says she was sexually assaulted by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. This is where she called 911 and was allegedly told, "We work for Wexner." She wasn't exaggerating either. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office was contacted for Wexner's security at the time. The town may have had a mayor, but everyone knew who was really in charge. The fall of Les Wexner. In public, Wexner said he cut ties with Epstein in 2007 after the first federal investigation into Epstein's sex crimes. Privately, their financial connection may have lasted a bit longer. In 2008, Epstein mysteriously donated $46 million back to a charity controlled by Wexner, Wexner later claimed that that was only a portion of the money Epstein had misappropriated, but he refused to say how much more was missing or whether he bothered to report that to the FBI. After Epstein's 2019 arrest and death, Wexner told L Brand's employees he was never aware of the illegal activity charged in the indictment. The scrutiny didn't stop. In early 2020, Wexner announced he was stepping down as CEO of L Brands after nearly 60 years. He tried to spin it as a new chapter for the company, but behind the scenes, investigations were mounting. Shareholders, journalists, and even former friends were asking, what did Les know and when did he know it? In 2024, new allegations surfaced. In January of last year, newly unsealed court documents tied to Virginia Giuffre's 2015 lawsuit included a shocking allegation that she was forced to wear lingerie for Wexner, provided by Epstein and Maxwell, and had sex with him multiple times. Wexner has not been charged with any crime. He has denied all wrongdoing and insists he has no knowledge of Epstein's abuse, even though he gave him his house, all his money, they lived in the same town, they hung out all the time. Yeah, but he didn't know. And if you thought the fallout was only American, well, catch up. The UK proved otherwise. When Epstein's files hit London, they cost one of Britain's top diplomats his job. People actually get fired for this stuff sometimes. Because while Washington pretends none of this matters, London just fired its top diplomat in the US, Lord Peter Mandelson, over his Epstein ties. Yeah, the same birthday book that Trump says is fake also included Mandelson calling Epstein my best pal. And unlike in the US, this actually had consequences. The book was that bad. The emails were worse. In 2008, after Epstein was already a convicted sex offender, Mandelson emailed him this: I think the world of you, and I feel hopeless and furious about what has happened. Your friends stay with you and love you. He even urged Epstein to fight for early release and suggested his conviction was wrongful and should be challenged. Remember, at the time, this wasn't just speculation. By then, Epstein had pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor. He was a frickin' registered frickin' sex offender, and this guy's like, your friends will stay by you. In the birthday book, Mandelson gushed. Once upon a time, an intelligent, sharp-witted man they call mysterious parachuted into my life. Wherever he is in the world, he remains my best pal. Damn, that is not just like fundamentally embarrassing. That is career suicide. Also, like, these messages are so weird and theatrical, right? Doing like voiceovers and parachuting into my life. Like, what are we doing bits for? Did we all go to theater school? Like, what is this? Finally, we end with Epstein's most mysterious companion, Karina Shiliak. In his final hours, Jeffrey Epstein made one phone call. Not to his lawyer, not to his family, to a woman almost no one knew, Karina Shiliak, a dentist from Belarus, his last girlfriend, the only visitor he had in jail, and the last person to ever hear his voice. So, who is she? And what does she know? From Minsk to Manhattan, who is Karina Shiliak? Born in 1989 and raised in Minsk, Karina arrived in the United States in 2009 at the age of 20. That same year, Epstein was released from prison after serving time for soliciting a minor. Coincidence? Maybe. But that's exactly when Karina entered his orbit. She started dating him around 2010, a time when most of his old allies have abandoned him, but not Karina. She stuck with him for nearly a decade, reportedly becoming his longest-lasting romantic partner. According to friends, she was intensely loyal. Some called her the Inspector because of how obsessed she was with tracking Epstein's every move. Jealous, yes, but also watchful, paranoid, always investigating. She reportedly dug through his calls, his contacts, and his visitors, and in doing so, she may have uncovered more than she bargained for. A marriage of convenience or control. In 2013, Karina married Jennifer Carlin, a longtime Epstein associate and, according to several lawsuits, an alleged victim. The marriage ended in 2019, just weeks after Epstein's arrest. Lawyers representing Epstein's victims has described this as a sham marriage, part of a broader pattern where Epstein arranged fake unions to help young women, often non-citizens, stay in the US and under the radar. Attorney Sigrid McCauley described it bluntly. These sham same-sex marriages served a basic and important purpose for Jeffrey's trafficking operation. Karina never faced legal charges, but her immigration status, connection to Carlin, and her long-term relationship with Epstein placed her right in the middle of the web, the last voice Epstein ever heard. On the night of August 9th, 2019, just hours before Epstein was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell, he made one last phone call. He told prison guards he was calling his mother, but she had been dead since 2004. In reality, Epstein called Karina Shuliak. The call lasted 15 minutes. It wasn't attorney-client privileged. It should have been recorded, and yet the official call logs don't include it. Instead, they say the last time he spoke to her was over 1 week earlier. Why? That question remains unanswered. Prosecutors from the Southern District of New York reportedly reviewed the recording, but never released the contents. Whatever Epstein said to her, we still don't know. Karina has refused to speak to authorities. She declined to talk to prosecutors, but sources close to her say she didn't think Epstein was suicidal. When she hung up, she was reportedly not under the impression that he was going to kill himself. Epstein's lawyers echoed that sentiment, with one attorney telling a Manhattan court that Epstein, quote, did not seem like a despairing, despondent, suicidal person. Karina may be the only person alive who knows the truth. Did Epstein buy her silence or her love? Epstein didn't just date Karina, he financed her entire life. He allegedly paid for her tuition at Columbia University, paid for her mother's expensive medical treatments, and even funded the home where her parents live in Minsk. She had a high-flying life, it seems. Here she is on a yacht with none other than Meghan Markle, right? Meghan, what are you doing here? She lived in Epstein's Palm Beach mansion from 2015 to 2018. She lived on Little St. James, his private island in the Virgin Islands. She was on his private jet when the FBI arrested him in July of 2019. And somehow, through all of this, she remains invisible to the media and public for nearly, what, a decade? She was fixing teeth. What else did she see? Here's where things get a little bit weirder. Karina is a licensed dentist, not just in Florida and California, but also in the Virgin Islands, where Epstein kept his, spooky island compound. Her dental practice is listed at an address connected to Epstein. According to multiple reports, Epstein had a dentist chair installed on Little St. James and another one in his Palm Beach home. Some sources claim he liked to fix up the teeth of women in his inner circle. So was Karina the one doing it? Was she doing everyone's teeth? We don't know, but the implication is a bit chilling. The inspector. What did she find? Friends say Karina was madly jealous of Epstein. Not exactly surprising, considering he admitted on prison intake forms that he had had more than 10 sexual partners in the previous 5 years. But her jealousy wasn't just emotional. It was investigative. She reportedly obsessed over his calls, his meetings, his emails. She wanted to know who he was seeing, what they were talking about, and why. That obsessive curiosity earned her the nickname The Inspector. She wasn't part of the trafficking network, at least not according to current evidence, but she was close enough to know who was involved. She saw the inner circle. She was there when Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak visited Epstein's mansion in 2016. She was seen entering and exiting the property with Susan Hamblin, another Epstein confidant. And she was there until the very end. A source told the Daily Mail no one stayed with him except Karina, even his closest friends. So what does she know? And why hasn't she talked? Known Epstein victim Virginia Guthrie once said, if you walked foot into Jeffrey Epstein's house and you went in there and you continued to be an acquaintance of his, then you would have had to have known what was going on. I think it's kind of bizarre that this mysterious woman known as the Inspector allegedly didn't know what was going on. I couldn't really figure out why the FBI didn't investigate her. I mean, maybe they did, I don't know. But I find this aspect extremely strange. It's just kind of odd. So whether it's a US president, a British royal, a retail billionaire, or a vanished girlfriend, the web around Epstein is full of people who thought they were untouchable. Some lost power, some lost reputations, and some, like Epstein himself, lost everything. But others, well, they lost nothing. The shadow of these connections is still with us, and they tell us more about how power really works than Epstein ever could on his own. This video was a compilation of a bunch of my Epstein research. If you want to stay up to date with what's going on, then make sure you subscribe.
Good night. Good night. Thanks for staying. Bye.